all, and maybe none of you want to know about. So we got that coming up a little bit later in the show. But none of that matters as much as this matters. Hi, Lonzo. Happy Thursday, bud.
Hello, Rob.
How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back to the stream, by the way.
Thanks.
Anyone who missed the
them.
stream yesterday, we are back live. So
yes,
check
indeed.
that out. It's Thursday. Busy day. Looking forward to football this weekend and looking forward to another wonderful 4 hours with you, Rob.
Looking forward to it. 4-hour sports talk extravaganza underway. And we look forward to sharing it with all of you as well, because you are going to call the show today. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. You are going to text the show at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, when you text the show at 71307. You are going to tweet the show today. The Twitter handle at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. You can get at Lonzo on Word on the Twitter. You can get it everybody up in here by tweeting at The Fan Upstate. You are also going to use the Ray Memorial Hotline, which is set up for you on the and only on the Odyssey app, AUD. ACY. What I want you to do is go to the Odyssey app. What I want you to do is favorite the Fan Upstate page. What I want you to do is to go to the Fan Upstate page, and in the middle of the page, right there, dead center, there's a little circular button with a little microphone image in it. I want you to click that microphone, and I want you to leave a 60-second voice message. They come directly to the great one and I. I'm looking at the page right now and waiting to see whose voice memo is going to pop up first. Listen, you drop a good one, it's getting played on the show. You drop a good one, maybe, if it's a good one, maybe you become a soundbite on the show. That's a possibility. You say something hilarious, maybe you become a soundbite on the show. Who knows? The possibilities, dear friends, are endless. Go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Download it. Go to the Fan Upstate page. Click on the little circle microphone button and leave us a voice note. 30, 60, 45, 10, 2 seconds. Who cares? Make it fun. Make it engaging. Make it entertaining. And perhaps it gets played on the show. Okay. We have a lot to get to. We have a lot to talk about. Zoe, you and I have discussed at length in the last couple of years as the worldwide phenomenon continues to grow. The Savannah Bananas. Now, the Bananas are interesting because they play baseball, but also not really. They play a spinoff of baseball they call Banana Ball. And there's some interesting rules of Banana Ball. And we can get into those a little later in the show just because, it's not traditional baseball. For instance, one of the rules, if a foul ball is hit into the stands and a fan catches it, that counts as an out. There is no bunting allowed, etc., etc. My favorite rule of all is their extra innings rule. Great one. Their extra innings rule, one batter, one pitcher, no one else on the field at all. Once the ball is put into play, the batter begins running the bases. Once the batter begins running the bases, the pitcher must recover the ball and attempt to tag out the batter. If he is able to successfully tag out the batter before the batter touches home, the team that the pitcher plays for wins. If the batter is able to successfully navigate from home plate all the way around the diamond and back to home plate before he was tagged out by the pitcher, the team that the batter plays for wins. Do I think that's a great way to determine, for instance, a Major League Baseball playoff game? No. Do I think it's entertaining as hell for the fans that are in attendance? You're damn right I do.
What if the pitcher just strikes the batter out?
I believe that is ball game as well.
Okay.
So,
All
I
right.
mean, think about the pressure there. As a batter, if I hit the ball, I got to hit it out there. I can't just bloop it back to the pitcher, else I'm in a foot race. But here's the thing, not really, because I got to run home. He knows where I'm going. He can just wait for me at the plate. If I'm going to hit the ball, I got to hit the ball. If you're the batter, or if you're the pitcher, pardon me, you can try to just K the guy. But if you're just throwing him clean heat, trying to blow it by one, and he gets a hold of one square, it's ball game, right? Like, do I think it's a great way to determine the winner of a baseball game? Absolutely not. Do I think anybody is going to the baseball game following the standings of the Savannah Bananas, the Party Animals, and the Firemen, the 3 teams in the Banana League? No, I think you're going for entertainment. And I know that it is working because the Savannah Bananas have a game tonight in Clemson against Clemson. And it's the hottest ticket the Upstate has seen since maybe the March Madness tournament first round a couple of years ago.
So this is the Globetrotters of baseball.
It is the Globetrotters of baseball, yes. In that
would mean that Clemson tonight are the Washington Generals.
Yes and no, because, and I spent yesterday looking and I could not find it. Maybe somebody knows, because I have not yet been able to find what the game is here. They are playing Clemson tonight, 6:30 p.m. My understanding is they are playing banana ball tonight. The Clemson Tigers are not playing a traditional baseball game against the Savannah Bananas. They're playing Savannah Banana Ball.
Well, it's not baseball season for college, so
it's exhibition season.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there.
It's November. This is probably a charity game, which is a good.
And even so, how dope is that?
No, it sounds
How
very
dope is
entertaining.
that?
It really does.
So, by the way, this game is
are they no longer in a minor league anymore?
Let's see. In
Savannah
fact,
Bananas.
I want to check this out. Here's the ACC's baseball. Let's see here. Duke baseball opened with their exhibition on last Friday. Yeah, it's time. We're playing. You got winter ball.
Okay, well, why?
Why not?
Okay, all right.
Why not?
Because
Baseball should be year round.
Okay.
Baseball should be year round. I'm here for it. I don't care if this is it or if this is the start or whatnot. This is awesome, and I think it's brilliant by the Clemson Tigers. I think it's brilliant to accept this. I also think it's brilliant that you are playing banana ball, right? Like it's one thing to welcome the Bananas to come to Doug Kingsmore Stadium and play some ball. It's another thing to say, yeah, we'll play your version of ball. You know, the version of ball that has been so successful that in just a handful of years, you grew from a cast-off little minor league team in Savannah, Georgia, to one of the hottest tickets in baseball. To one of the hottest, to a baseball team that can pack more baseball fans into some MLB stadiums than those stadiums MLB teams can do. They are going on. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Part of the reason that, and this makes sense now, or at least a little bit more sense, part of the reason that I think this relationship is on between the Savannah Bananas and Clemson, remember, the Bananas are doing a Bananas World Tour, including the firing up of a new league that the Bananas will play in alongside my favorite team of all time, the Party Animals. I got to get one of the jerseys. They're sleeveless. They're great. Clemson is one of the football stadiums. There are 3 football stadiums that the Bananas will be playing football or playing baseball in this year. They will be playing at Memorial Stadium on the campus of Clemson. They will be playing in Nashville, Tennessee at the Titan Stadium in Nissan. And they'll be playing a game up in Charlotte, North Carolina at Bank of America Stadium. And I can go ahead and tell you, because it's already been happening, those games are going to sell out. There will be more people at a Savannah Bananas v. Party Animals game at Bank of America than there has been for a Panthers game this year.
Yeah, but that's not really saying a whole lot. It's not really difficult to do.
I think it's one thing if you say like, oh, it's 2 good college teams coming to town, selling more tickets, whatever. This is an exhibition minor league baseball, summer baseball league baseball team, right? We're not talking about the Braves and the Dodgers are coming to play at BOA to fill it up. The Savannah freaking Bananas. There's something to be said for that. And I think this is a master stroke for Clemson, because I'll tell you right now, this game tonight on YouTube, I've already got it on the it's at 6:30 tonight. I've already got it on the lady friend and I. We share a Google Calendar, so we can know where everybody is and what's going on. Coverage starts at 6:30, first pitch at 7. The lady friend and I, we share a Google Calendar, and whenever one of us has something to do, you pop it on the calendar so the other person is aware. Scheduling conflicts, number one relationship treachery. So I already popped it on the calendar. I'm like, yo, don't make plans tonight. We're going to stay home. We're going to fire up the old Television. We're going to watch a little banana ball versus the Tigers. Now, this may shock you. My wife, I'm going to say this, Lonzo, and downplay it a little bit. I'm going to say it in a way that it's a little less emotionally impactful. My wife hates Clemson. She hates you, despises you.
I'm glad you toned it down.
Hates them.
Yeah.
I really reeled that one back.
Yeah, you did.
Hates them. I put it on the schedule on the calendar. I'm like, yo, banana ball tonight. Take it on the Clemson Tigers at Doug Kinsmore. They're putting it on YouTube. We gotta watch it. And she goes, I hate Clemson. I said, I know. And she goes, but I really want to see a Bananas game. And I was like, I know. That's why we're watching it. I got a friend who lives up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Old drummer of my band. His wife, not just not a sports fan. And she's a doll. I love her to death. One of my favorite people. But Lonzo, she is not just not a sports fan. She's an anti-sports person. She's one of these people that doesn't understand sports. Why, oh, why are we building multi-billion-dollar stadiums and paying 18-year-old kids millions of dollars to play a child's game when there's blank, 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 all these world problems that can be solved?
Does she listen to music?
She's more of a poetry person.
Okay.
May shock you to learn.
All right.
She's a wonderful person. She is. She's a doll. This is the only place we butt heads, but I love her to death. And when the announcement went out that the Savannah Bananas were coming to Charlotte, North Carolina to play at Bank of America Stadium, she, not her husband, not my friend, she texted me. And she said, this is awkward for me. Is there any chance you could get us tickets to this? This woman can't stand sports. She wants to go to a Bananas game. They're a phenomenon. They have people who have never watched a baseball game, could not care less about baseball, wanting to come see Bananas games. They're selling out NFL stadiums to do it. And so for Clemson, at a point in time where their baseball program is like real good and real close to do this, there's going to be a significant number of people watching this game tonight. I don't know that. In fact, no, scratch that. I do know that. There is not a college baseball team in America that is going to get more attention paid to them specifically and especially in the preseason than the Clemson Tigers will tonight. Just by going out there and having some fun and goofing off a little bit. It's going to be great. I cannot wait. I think it's good. And by the way, they put out on their social media, the Clemson Tigers did yesterday. They put out on their social media a quick little highlight clip reel of the Clemson Tiger baseball team practicing their banana ball, which is a lot like a flips and goofy stuff kind of thing, right? And it looked fun. I saw it and I was like, oh, we have to watch it tomorrow. I got people in my life who hate, not baseball, sports, that are asking me for tickets to go see the Bananas. And here's the fun part. I can't get them. I can get tickets to any sporting event. It's part of the perks of the job. I can't get them. They're that hard to come by. It's incredible. So well done on Clemson. It's all about growing the brand, and this will help. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Yeah, Mike ain't alone. Well, Wesley, I don't know what to I don't know what to tell you there, bud. Sounds like a you problem, huh? I'm pulling for you. You should don't ask. Just put it on and see if it grabs her attention, right? Like, don't ask her. Just put it on the TV. Be like, hey, I'm going to watch this baseball game. Would you like to sit down and have a glass of wine with me? And see what happens. You never know. Give me 45 seconds, guys. I'll be right back. Please do. Wesley, please do. Just put it, don't say anything. Just put it on right at 7, first pitch. Don't put it on for the pregame. All right. Put it on at 7 and then just start watching and don't say anything. See if it grabs her attention. I'm actually pretty curious. Courtney is gonna watch it. She hates Clemson. She does nothing that will even remotely look like she's supporting Clemson. But she's gonna watch it. I showed her my new shoes. I got some blue and orange Vans to match the Rabbits jersey.
Oh.
All right.
Oh no.
What do you mean? Oh no.
No.
What do you mean no?
Orange.
They match the jersey.
Okay, fine.
I got some blue and orange Vans that match the jersey. Oh, I don't know if you'll be able to see them. Can you see the back of the heels? They say GVL, yeah, on them. But I took them out of the bag last night to show her because I thought she'd be like, oh, those are fun. She thought they were purple and orange, and she had a fit. She popped off.
Yeah. I mean, why would you allow that stuff in your household? Purple and orange. I don't. I might be ill the rest of the day. I make sure I don't look down at your feet.
They're swamp rabbit colors.
I know. Not. They won't be seen as that.
Well, they'll only be worn with swamp rabbit gear. These aren't like I just throw them on gear. These are game day shoes.
I get it. I get what you're doing. But if people see you out, they're just going to think, look, there goes another Clemson fan.
They're blue. They ain't purple.
From here, you can't tell they're blue. And plus, that orange cancels out any other color there is on there.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob, the great one, Lonzo, and you. Zoe, let me ask you a question here. There are teams, I think, that outside of your fandom, you become a fan of. And it can be for a variety of reasons. You have become a Carolina Panther fan by way of living here and covering the team and being in their market and having most of our, or at least a good portion of our listeners care about them, et cetera, et cetera.
It's also the only NFL stadium I've ever been to.
There you go. So whatever the reason might be, I have over the past couple of years, I have become a fringe Buffalo Bills fan. I'm a Bills fan, not just because I love Josh Allen, but I'm also a Bills fan because I feel a kinship with their fandom, a fandom of a team that has never won them a Lombardi. And not only has never won them a Lombardi, but has a history of being tantalizingly close and then devastating their spirits in the most ridiculous possible way.
Gotta suck for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
I don't sympathize.
I feel a kinship. And then on top of that, you add the fact that Bills Mafia has become just the paragon of fans having a ball any given place, any given time.
Well, when you know your team's not going to go all the way, why not? Why not have fun?
I mean, and then even when they are very good, have fun.
No, even when they are very good, they still ain't going anywhere. So, I mean,
Bills fans, don't worry. I got your back.
No, I'm not saying anything about the fans. I'm saying they found a way to celebrate above mediocrity, whatever that is. I mean,
only one team can do it a year. All right.
You're right. There can be only one.
And your team is running just systematic oppression.
It isn't Kansas City that beats them every year. They do beat them quite a bit. They got beat out by Cincinnati a year. There's always a team.
Either way, I have a certain kinship with Bills fans. I have called Bills fans the Saints fans of the North, because the Saints have sucked pretty much the entire duration of the franchise, but have some of the best tailgates you've ever been to down in the NOLA.
The Bills are better than that. I mean, I don't know. I think they probably think that as a slight, at least presently, comparing them to the Saints.
You're not gonna create a polarization between Saints fans and Bills fans. There's a blood brother bond there betwixt two teams that have been god awful the majority of their runs. All right, I love the Bills fans. There's a Bills bar here in the GVL, that I go to with some regularity. Buddy Jack, one of my dear friends, big Bills guy. I'm in with his crew. He's in with the Saints fans. We're good. So,
is he Billy Jack's cousin?
No, he's just regular Jack. Just Jack.
Okay, all right.
That's a Will and Grace reference. We're going deep down the pop culture phenomenon today.
Okay, you did. I went further back because Billy Jack was a movie in the 70s.
Yeah, you're older than me.
I know.
Okay. There are fans, or there are teams that I develop a certain kinship for. There are teams that I just can't help but like. Can I tell you one of those teams right now?
Nope.
I'm going to anyway. Nobody asked you. It was the Royal.
It
was the Royal you, not you.
There was a question there. I just answered it.
The Royal you. May I tell you? Scratch that. I'm going to tell you all a team that I got love in my heart for. All right? Taylor Swift hand hearts. I got love in my heart for this team. The Detroit Lions. I love this team. I am living vicariously through this team. Not just because they've been bad for as long as I've been alive, and right now they're very good. Not only are they very good, let Rich Eisen tell you how good they are.
I don't think I've said this in my entire life. I don't know how many people in their lives in the great state of Michigan have said this, but the Detroit Lions are the best team in the National Football League. As of right now, Chiefs haven't played their 8th game yet, but the Lions aren't just beating up on people. They're putting them in a fetal position. They are exactly what Dan Campbell set out for the Lions to be and said in a very graphic detail, which unfortunately for him, coming out of the box, had a lot of people thinking he was an unserious head coach in the NFL. But I think it works to his benefit now. If you still think he's unserious, that's a UP. That's your problem. And you'll find out it's going to be your problem fast, because this team is fearless. They're ferocious. They are physical. They are really smart. They got smart players all over the map. They've got a brilliant coordinator on offense and defense, and they've got a head coach who has his finger directly on the pulse.
Entirely agree with that take.
Except the only thing is UP is why is it not YP? That's
I heard that too.
yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to lie. The millennial kicked in and I just saw it in my head. I actually physically saw it like a text, like U, like the letter U.
Yeah, Rich is my age. Stop.
Rich has got Riz. We should call him Riz Ison.
Okay.
He's got Riz.
That's fine. Whatever.
Also, I love that the Saints interim head coach is named Coach Riz. I'm here for it. All right. I wanted it to be Coach Kubiak, but clearly they don't listen to me. Anyway, I love this take from Rich, and I love this about the Detroit Lions because I agree entirely. I think today, right now.
Did you not? I also disagree with the people didn't take him serious because of the biting the kneecaps thing. Yeah, they did. I mean, when he said that, I'm like, yeah, I want that to be my coach.
I didn't. I agree with what Rich said.
Okay, well, you guys both are wrong. I mean, I thought it was an amazing thing to say, and he's backed it up, and good for him. Don't back off that stuff. Be you.
No one is telling him back off that stuff. But when he comes out with no HC experience, and the first thing he says is, "We're gonna buy kneecaps," I'm like, all right, this is weird, dude.
No,
like, that's weird.
That's a mentality. You've never had a coach like that. Those are my favorite coaches. You love them and hate them at the same time because you know they're going to work you hard.
They're offensive line coaches. This is the NFL. This ain't your high school football team.
So, wow. I'm so disappointed in you right now.
I think it's one of those things that if Dan Campbell said that now with a track record of success, I'd be like, yeah, I get that. I'm good with that.
Okay, so you only adopt a mantra after you've lived for, so you can't go, this is my mantra, this is what I want to do, this is what we're going to do ahead. You can't do that. You got to wait till you do it, and then you have credibility to say, okay, now I can say we can bite their kneecaps off. No, you come in and say, hey, this is the kind of mentality. We're going to be scrappy. We're going to fight. If you knock us down, we're going to bite your kneecaps off, and we're going to win some games. And that's what they've done. And I love that he said that, and I hope he never backs off. And I'm very disappointed.
Okay, so let me address.
Wow, my adrenaline's going right now.
I see that.
Yeah.
I see it. This is the most animated you've been all week.
Yeah.
Granted, you've been on death's door for a few days.
It's hurting me, but that's fine because I'm disappointed.
Let me tell you where Rich and I are coming from on this. It is wonderful in an ideal world to be like, yeah, bite the kneecap. Blah, blah. But we all know that locker rooms in the NFL are precarious places, and they can be won over and they can be lost very easily. And sometimes it comes down to saying a dumb thing or a dorky thing or whatever thing at the wrong time. I think this is the problem that the New Orleans Saints had with Dennis Allen. I don't think so we're clear, I don't really think Dennis Allen's a bad coach.
You're going to compare the two?
You're going to let me finish my thought here?
Wow.
I don't think Dennis Allen's a bad coach at all. I think Dennis Allen, in fact, was towards the end of the Peyton era, was really the only reason the Saints were competitive going into the NFC Championship game where the most egregious miscall in the history of professional modern sports took place. Dennis Allen's defense got us there. Drew Brees' offense tried to finish it. Dennis Allen's not a bad coach with the X's and O's. The problem Dennis Allen has is he's an egomaniac, A. And B, when he goes in the locker room and he talks to the fellas, I've seen the clips. He can't talk in a way that gets people excited to be led by him. Go watch Dennis Allen post-game pressers after the Saints lost games. He gets on the mic and it's the same boring, repetitive football platitudes that don't do anything. And the locker room went, yeah, we're out. This guy sucks. We're not following this guy.
You mean the same thing that just about every coach says? Just about?
No, it's again, I without
what they say to the media and what they say to the team are two different things.
I don't disagree. And yet there is zero evidence that the locker room speeches were any different. In fact, after the loss against Carolina this past weekend, the moment I knew that he was broke, that this team was broke, he was done, was Cam Jordan, who's been with this team for 37 years. Multi-time Pro Bowl defensive end, vet leader on this team. Cam Jordan wouldn't even go in the locker room. Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara had to go drag him back into the locker room because he was just pacing the tunnel, looking like he was ready to flip a car. They had to go grab him back. Why? Because Dennis Allen has lost this team. If Dennis Allen had this team on the same page, they'd have all been in the locker room going, that's the worst thing that's ever happened to this football franchise. How do we fix it? But they weren't. Had guys over here and guys over there throwing temper tantrums and guys tweeting in the locker room within minutes of the game ending. Team got lost. And how you communicate and the results that you get while you are communicating it, or the results that you haven't gotten while you're communicating, are important. If I go out to the bar with the boys and we're all hanging out having a good time, and one guy starts going, takes his shirt off and goes, I'll kick anybody's ass in this bar. You don't go, that's my guy. You go, dude, this is weird. This is not the right. This is not. No, stop. You're weirding us out a little bit here. Relax.
Wow, this was all about praising Detroit, and now you just turned the entire thing.
No, I didn't.
Something that he said.
No, I did not. What I was saying was when Dan Campbell became the HC of the DET, I did not believe in him. I did, and I'm acknowledging that. I didn't believe him. I listened to him and I went, oh, you're just another meathead dork. That's just the meathead version of the kid that won't shut up about Magic the Gathering. Nobody cares, Kevin. Nobody cares.
Meatheads are people too.
I agree.
And there are probably more meatheads than there are thespians and higher class thinkers.
I mean, maybe so. Doesn't make them not dorks. They're just a different flavor of dork. And I thought Dan Campbell was just a different flavor of dork. We've seen a ton of NFL coaches who have that bite the kneecap, and then they stink. And I thought he was next in line. And all of a sudden, Dan Campbell has the Detroit Lions, I am comfortable saying, I think it's fair to say, the best team in the National Football League right now. They have a loss. It was a wonky one to, and also at the time, undefeated Minnesota Vikings team. I will tell you right now, Kansas City, Detroit, neutral site, give me Kansas City by a touchdown. Genuinely.
Wait, you just said give Kansas City by a touchdown. Did you mean to say that?
No, I said Kansas City versus Detroit. Give me Detroit.
No, you said Kansas City.
Oh, sorry. Give me Detroit by a touchdown.
You did.
Give me the Detroit Lions by a touchdown. This team is not just physical as hell, and they are, but they are also, as Rich Eisen pointed out, an efficient, smart, charismatic team. There's no flaws with this team. And they added a defensive end that's going to help them immensely. I'm all in on the Detroit Lions. Go. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Sunday, the 2-7 Panthers battle the 2-7 Giants. The game in Munich, Germany. The team says that Bryce Young will get the start at quarterback. Meanwhile, the Panthers also activated running back Jonathan Brooks. They had to make the move today, or else he would have been placed on the season.
Let me address that when I come back. Give me 30 seconds.
Practice, a number of players were given rest days. That includes Jadeveon Clowney, Ashawn Robinson, Chuba Hubbard, Josie Jewell, Xavier Woods, and J.C. Horn. Safety Jamie Robinson was back on a limited basis. He missed the last 3 games with a knee injury. Safety Lonnie Johnson was also limited. Classic Rock 101.1 is your home for Carolina Panthers play-by-play all season long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute, upstate traffic. The Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows an all clear for the upstate right now. 25 and 276 down from Travelers Rest is wide open. 123 in from the west is in good shape. There are no issues on 26 and 585 through Spartanburg, and the overnight road work along 85 has been picked up, and it's all back to normal. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time, and still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open and happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable. If you're looking for an Affordable Care Act health insurance plan, you have good timing. It's the open enrollment period, and there's an easy way to search Health Markets. At healthmarkets.com, you can see a list of ACA plans available to you in your area. If you have questions or when you're ready to choose a plan, there are licensed insurance agents ready to help you apply. See how easy it can be to find your next health insurance plan at healthmarkets.com. Health Markets Insurance Agency, Inc. is licensed as an insurance agency nationwide except in Massachusetts. This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, The Fan.
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
There's one on the 3RCI. Now, the Infinity Sports Network. Talk to Robin Lonzo. Call
I haven't talked about this cat yet, but I'm going to here. I'm going to ask if you have heard about him. The answer's yes to everybody. Zoe, have you seen / heard the For the Colts guy that has been singing songs to hype up the Indianapolis Colts before their weekly matchups?
I have seen but never listened because it's not my team, but I've seen him pop up everywhere. Yeah.
Boy, howdy. Let me tell you how much I love this guy.
Middle-aged white dude.
Yup.
Yeah.
Goofy ass dude by the name of Phil Wickham. Now, Phil, before week 1 of the NFL season, Phil in his house with a camera and a mic said, I'm gonna get the Indianapolis Colts absolutely fired up. And you know what gets NFL athletes fired up more than anything else? Great music. Great music. And ever since week 1, this cat has released
banger
after
banger
after
banger.
Let me give you just a little taste of Phil Wickham here. Let's go all the way back to week 1. Indianapolis Colts taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, a divisional round matchup straight out of the gate. And Phil put this piece of art on the internet.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. This is our Colts. Whether win or lose, we love them. For the shoe, beat the Jags. Let the world hear us now. This is our team. Go Colts.
Okay, absolute slapper, right? Like just like get the Grammys out now.
Well, I can tell that there's a lot of passion in this guy.
Oh, he's a diehard. Not good enough for you? Not quite there? Let's go to week 2.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. This is our Colts. Whether win or lose, we love them. For the shoe, beat the Texans. Let the world hear us now. This is our team. Go Colts.
I mean, slapper after slapper after slapper after slapper after
The
slapper.
microphone has a hard time controlling his power, though. Might want to back off the gain just a little.
Now, if you weren't enjoying those, it's progressively gotten better. Week 3 of this year, he was joined by special guest when the Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders show up to participate in this banger against the Bears.
All right, guys, special guest here, Colts cheerleaders. Woo! This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue.
This is our Colts, whether win or lose, we love them.
For the shoe, beat the Bears. Let's bear them down with Josh Down. our team. Go Colts!
I mean, he added the
There's
to
some-
the end. You
there's
know
some-
it was legitimate.
Some natural harmony in there with the cheerleaders.
I'm
Way to
telling
go,
you.
dude. Yeah.
Progressively better. I mean, it's just getting Colts Vikings from early November.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. This is our Colts. Whether win or lose, we love them. For the shoe, beat the Vikings. Let the world hear us now. This is our team. Go Colts!
That became a thing. That became
Yeah,
a thing.
I don't know if the horse thing. I don't know if he should have. Yeah.
I mean, how'd you not? These things absolutely slap.
Yeah, but
These things slap.
I mean, you can only. It's too much. Emotionally, I can't handle it when you throw the horse in there too. Imagine if you're a Colts fan.
It's not enough. I need more. And I know we're getting more because as this has happened, as this cat has gotten more and more and more and more famous because his songs are taking over the internet. Yesterday, he was honored by the Indianapolis Colts as the 2024 Indianapolis Colts Fan of the Year and given a pair of Super Bowl tickets to go down to New Orleans, Louisiana and enjoy the biggest show in sports. This guy's incredible. This guy's a different level. His YouTube channel has been growing by the thousands. The last week's video, and I'm trying to find last week's. Last week's video, great one. Blue showed up. You know, the Colts mascot. He showed up. Like he's in now. Seth Erskine is his name. And Seth, no, not yet, Seth. I need you to relax. I'm going to get you there. Seth Erskine has been having the Colts cheerleaders show up. He's been having the mascot show up.
Is he
He's
now
got
the
players showing up.
most famous Seth out there? Possibly.
I don't know, man. You got Jarvis. You got Green. You've got Curry. I would argue not even the most famous Curry, but certainly on the Seth list, he's got to be up towards the top.
You never said Rollins. You named that list and you never said
You
Seth
got Rollins.
I mean, come on.
I mean, there's some legendary Seths out there, and I gotta tell you, this dude has taken it to a new level. And all I want to say, in fact, there's a video that I want to play, but I haven't gotten to screen it yet. The boys sang it on the McAfee show yesterday. They sang along with him.
Yeah, they've been cheering this guy for a while. I always seem to tune in right when they're done, and I could rewind back, but I've already missed the moment. So I mean, you know,
I don't know what to tell you. This dude's incredible. Like this guy, I'm not, and I want you to know, I mean this sincerely. I'm not hating on this guy. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm impressed. I'm blown away. This dude started this fun, goofy little thing he was doing on the internet for fun. It's and here's why I love it. It's not negative, right? It's not down. He's not out there. It's a prank, bro-ing people. He's not out there destroying property. He's not out there doing anything harmful, and he's not doing anything that dings up the reputation of the team. He's just doing something fun and heartwarming on the internet, and he's gotten recognized for it. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate a guy who just said, you know what? I think this is going to be fun. I think this is going to be interesting. I think that this is a way for me to tell everybody how much I love the Colts. And I'm not gonna bang the drum on the guy. He's fun. He loves his team. He loves what he's doing on the internet. He got to hang out with the Colts cheerleaders. They came to his house. Quick question. Let's poll the Armada. How many of you have ever had one NFL cheerleader in your house? How many of you? Statistically speaking, there might be one of you out there because you were like, that's my sister, that's my cousin. Maybe one of you even got married.
The Panthers did used to be in this area for camp, for
right?
Quite a bit.
Right.
So,
I said, how many came to your house?
Yeah. Well,
right.
It does. I mean, some of the Armada may have game. The
amount of riz you've got to have to pull an NFL cheerleader.
I don't know why that bothers me. It just doesn't. I mean, maybe it's because you're saying it. Maybe that's why.
Were there children standing on your grass this morning, Alonzo? Oh, it's just because I say it? Wait, I went right past that.
Yeah. And if there were children standing on my grass this morning,
you'd yell at them.
No, I'd be like,
about being on my lawn.
Crap, I'm surrounded by a cult or something. How'd you guys get back here?
This cat is incredible. He's having fun. He's doing something fun. He's doing something goofy that doesn't hurt anybody, that doesn't impact anybody. And I got to tell you, I respect it. I appreciate it. And now the Colts have shown that they respect it and they appreciate it. Giving my man ticks, ducats to the Super Bowl. Bravo, young man. Bravo, Seth. That's fantastic. Like, and the reason I bring this up is that I was looking around the internet yesterday, and there were all these people on the internet. They're like, oh, I can't believe that you're giving this guy Super Bowl tickets. You're giving this loser Super Bowl tickets. You're giving this guy the opportunity to go to a game that we all wish that we could go to. Yeah. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? Why not let a fan who is committed to this gimmick, who has, by the way, if nothing else, gotten the Colts more PR that they didn't have to do anything or pay $1 for than anybody else in the game. And considering all they got going on with the Anthony Richardson drama, all they got going on with the Joe Flacco starting, all they got going on with having been in the competition for the AFC South, and now basically nobody thinks they have a chance the rest of the ride, as the Colts are second in the division, but they're 2 games back of the Texans. This guy has been an absolute ambassador. He's spectacular, man. Texter said, Rob, this is my moment. My wife's college roommate left U of SC and became a Dolphins cheerleader. I'm the statistic. I mean, I respect that. Now I kind of need the tea. Was it like your wife's roommate, you met your wife and you were fine? Were you like chasing the cheerleader and you happen to end up getting swept away by your wife? I need the tea now. Now I need the backdrop. Your life's a reality show and I want to watch.
Maybe it's just something boring. I mean,
maybe, but we'll never know until we ask.
All right.
Why are you?
Because I don't want to
sucking the fun out of my sails today.
Because you're implying that something went on that might cause problems with this person and his wife, and I don't.
My man's wife was roomies with someone who's obviously an attractive woman, right? I'm just curious what the
backstory. So you're saying there are no ugly cheerleaders?
You ever seen an ugly NFL cheerleader? Exactly.
No, that's just me not answering. That's
yeah. There's a reason you didn't answer.
Yeah, because I anyway.
There's
beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
I don't disagree, but
makeup can hide a lot of things from a distance. That's all I'm saying.
To ourselves to not say that there is a standard definition of beauty that an overwhelming consensus of Americans are on board with.
There's a standard body type for sure for an NFL cheerleader.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Again,
that doesn't mean they're all pretty. Some of them are really good dancers.
Yes, as we all know. That's why they're down there. Zoe is right for once. Zoe's right for once. It's boring. But my wife is my cheerleader, and I'd take that over a Dolphins cheerleader every day that ends in Y. That a boy.
Hey, I was your wingman there. You're welcome.
Is she in the car with you? No, I'm kidding. It's a joke. I'm kidding.
See?
Relax.
What are you trying to do, man?
It's a joke.
Oh,
it's a joke.
Cringe.
Calm down. All right, coming up in the next hour of the show. I don't know. I may drop. What do we have? 9 of them so far. I may for the rest of the show drop a "This Is Our Colts" anthem every segment for the rest of we'll find out. We'll see if we got it. Coming up in the next segment, we got the water cooler cheat sheet. Your text, comments, calls through the 7 o'clock hour. Lulu Kesson at 8 o'clock. Rashad Beard joined us on Monday because he's on his way over to Deutschland. That would be Germany. So we will run the interview back that we did with Rashad earlier this week for you Thursday in his normal slot at 8:40. Hayden asked Mario at 9. Fight Club at 9. Thursdays are busy, so do not go anywhere. Let's have some fun. You know what's fun? When Lonzo does the sports flash.
No fun here.
This is our Colts.
Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott suffered a partial tear of his right hamstring, including a part of the tendon separating from the bone. Ouch. Prescott has not yet been placed on injured reserve, but sources report that the timeline for return is longer than 4 weeks. In the meantime, Cooper Rush will return to the QB1 role, where he has a 5-1 record in place of Prescott. Kansas City Chiefs said the injury sustained by quarterback Patrick Mahomes in Monday night's win over Tampa Bay was a rolled ankle. Mahomes described the ankle as sore, but said he was able to move around comfortably. Head coach Andy Reid said the Chiefs don't plan on putting limitations on Mahomes at this point. Make sure you tune in tomorrow at 7 as the Furman Paladins take on the Belmont Bruins in hard court action. It's Furman versus Belmont right here on your home for Paladins basketball. It's the Fan, Upstate. Since I was right for once, I think I'm done for the day. Go out on top, you know. Good morning, JD.
This message brought to you by MTC Federal. Next level banking. Experience next level banking from MTC Federal. Our credit saving financial management tool lets you take charge of your credit score, manage finances, and achieve goals all on a secure platform. Learn more at mtcfederal.com. Federally insured by the NCUA. This is the Better Help Online Therapy. Everyone at Boomer Esiason, what's something that you've always wanted to learn? An instrument, a new language, how not to burn pasta. Whether it's big or small, imagine how great it would feel to finally do it. As kids, we're always learning and growing. But as adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity that made life feel so exciting. So it's easy to think that we are who we are and we can't change. But BetterHelp is here to tell you that it's never too late to be who you want to be. Therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder because your back-to-school era can come at any age. BetterHelp makes it easy to get started with affordable phone, video, or live chat sessions you could do from anywhere. And the option to message your therapist between sessions if anything comes up. So why not rediscover possibility with BetterHelp? Visit BetterHelp.com/Boomer today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Boomer.
Your morning jolt of sports. It's the Rob Brown Show.
23-14.5 against the Nichols State Colonels, a team that you did not know was called the Colonels until right now. They let them hang for a while. Now they did put up 21 to the Colonels, as in guys that are over the military, not like Queen. Correct. Spelled with a C, not a K. certain fan. I mean, I'm an idiot, but like, Colonel's with a K, not a C. Oh, Colonel. Yeah. Corn is spelled with a C. I'm an idiot, but come on, man. Do you think I was sitting here going, corn, K-O-R-N, blah, 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 blah. That's my impression of corn. That's a very good. That was Creed doing corn. Nailed it. Something takes a pot of man.
Don't hit snooze. Play the Rob Brown Show. Now morning 6 to 10 on The Fan.
The Fan Upstate.
Wire to wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson.
So we're going to test you, Cole, on the NFL rulebook. How can the kicking team of a field goal attempt said field goal without facing a rush? There's three options. Option A, by alerting the referee that they're going to kick a field goal. Preceding it with a fair catch. That's option number 2. And then option number 3, by taking a 15-yard penalty.
How do you understand what he's asking? Is that possible?
This it is. Could be. Either B, by preceding it.
So Wesley, as per your earlier comment, Dan Campbell doesn't have a British accent, so I don't know why it sounds like Monty Python to you. And don't be disparaging Monty Python, because they're awesome, or they were. New Life, next break.
10-4.
I finally get the sunglasses. You want to be named Shades Brown. That's what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Shades Brown.
Here we go. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show starts now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Spectacular as always to have you here with us. I am Rob Brown, the great Malonzo on the other side of the metaphorical glass. He's on the ones and twos, rocking the show today and every day. Hope that you're well. Hope that you're having a lovely day. Hope that your week is everything that you'd hoped it would be. Lulu Cass into the Greenville News coming up in an hour to talk South Carolina Gamecock football with us, coming off of obviously an enormous win over the Texas A&M Aggies last weekend. We will talk to her about the lessons learned and how they will be carried forward into a clash of the Titans, two of the hottest teams in college football, two of the hottest teams in the Southeastern Conference doing battle this Saturday in Nashville, Tennessee, when the Vanderbilt Commodores welcome the Gamecocks of South Carolina into Commodore Stadium to take on the Anchors Down folks. Looking forward to that. We'll talk to Lulu Kesson about that at 8 o'clock. At 8:40, we will replay for you our interview we did earlier this week with the legendary Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast. Of course, Rashad got the opportunity on Monday as he left yesterday to head over to Deutschland, over to Germany, where the Cats will take on the G-Men. That is part of our water cooler cheat sheet coming up here in just a minute. We will replay our interview with Rashad from earlier in the week for you Panther fans that tune in weekly to hear Rashad Beard. Then at 9 o'clock, Hayton Ass Mario from the BetQL Network, executive producer of BetMGM tonight, NBA and NFL analyst for the BetQL Network, will join us to talk NFL football. And then at 9:20, Fight Club with the great Malonzo, and no shortage of stuff to talk about, because while I have not gotten to watch the last episode of AEW Dynamite yet, I heard it slapped hard. So we're going to talk about that. We had Crown Jewel this past weekend. We've got to get into a little bit as well. Fight Club, 9:20. Make sure you are there if you're a fan of the professional wrestling, because we got a lot of it to talk about. Yada, yada, yada. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. You have 57 minutes on the dot to get your behind into the office, sit behind that desk, respond to those emails, and get ready to rock and roll through another day at the office. But of course, we all know what you're looking forward to. You're looking forward to getting in there, to taking that first break, walking down the hallway, going to the water cooler, pulling yourself a nice cold glass of ice water and talking sports. And if you're going to do that, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
"Oh no, don't start."
Take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It's the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet, top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office this morning and start talking sports with your coworkers. Let's dive right in. Let's go with item numero uno. Announced yesterday, not a shock at all. That's a big-ass water cooler.
No, when you put it in for the first time, there's air in it, and it just, yeah.
Gotta get the bubbles out. Get the bubbles out. Item number 1. Let's start in the National Football League. We got 3 quarterback stories that are all going to get piled in together. In item number 1, we start with this one. Dak Prescott, the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, going to be out for some length of time. Why? Because, well, we all know he suffered a leg injury this past weekend in a loss to the Atlanta Falcons. Dak Prescott is going to be sat down for a minute. And he's going to be sat down for a minute because not just a tendon injury, but a tendon injury that includes the tendon ripping clean off the bone. Dak Prescott has not yet been sent to the injured reserve, which of course means that he would be obligated to miss 4 games, but sent to the injured reserve, potentially changing the season. Cooper Rush is going to step in. Cooper Rush is actually 5-1 as the Dallas Cowboys starter. The only way that this story gets more intriguing is if Cooper Rush comes in and the offense clicks. Now, I don't think all the problems with the Dallas Cowboys are Dak Prescott. I think he's part of it, but I don't think he's the only problem. I think they got a lot more and a lot bigger problems than just Dak Prescott. So if Cooper Rush comes in and he handles the business and the Cowboys win a couple of games, maybe we have a little bit more drama down to the big D. Quarterback story number 2 in item number 1. Deshaun Watson was the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, shut down for the year, obviously, after he suffered a torn Achilles that caused him to be removed. Of course, Jameis Winston came in, and wouldn't you know it, the Cleveland Browns, all they did was beat the Baltimore Ravens, one of the 3 shortest odds to make and win the Super Bowl this year. Doesn't matter. Jameis came in, Jabu got the dub, and the GM of the Cleveland Browns, Andrew Berry, yesterday in a press conference was asked, are you guys ready to commit to Deshaun Watson long-term? He would not answer it, positively or negatively, would not respond to the question. Basically said, we're not going to say anything until we make sure that he's healthy. We're not going to say anything until he's fully recovered. And don't get me wrong, I'm good with that. But we all know, however, that even if that's true, if the answer to that question was yes, if Deshaun Watson was playing good football, the answer would be yes. So, I don't know. It shouldn't be shocking to anybody, but it is intriguing. And finally, quarterback story number 3, ladies and gentlemen, this Sunday, 9:30 a.m. live from Deutschland. The Carolina Panthers will take on the New York Football Giants in a clash of the Titans. Might be the last winnable game for the Carolina Panthers. We can discuss and debate that later on in the show. But Bryce Young will get another start at QB1. It was interesting because when we played you the audio earlier this week, after the win over the New Orleans Saints, they win in which Bryce Young orchestrated 2 different come-from-behind scoring drives, including the drive that scored the game-winning touchdown over our New Orleans Saints. Immediately in the press conference, Dave Canales was asked, hey, are you ready to commit to BY as QB1? And Dave wouldn't say yes. Didn't say no. Well, actually, he did say no. He said, I'm not committing to him yet. We got to look at the tape. We got to get the data, the numbers. We got to put it all down on the spreadsheet, see what we see before we make that decision. I told you on Monday, I genuinely thought that was an acknowledgement or an admittance that they were shopping Bryce Young, or at least were willing to take phone calls. And according to reports, including from Adam Schefter, Carolina Panthers received at least 2 phone calls from people inquiring about the availability of Bryce Young. Now, I'll say here what I said to Rashad. We'll play the interview again at 8:40 this morning. I'll say here what I said to Rashad on Monday when this conversation came up. Do I think that they were willing to listen to trade offers from Bryce Young? Yes. Yes, I do. I think they were willing to listen to offers, but I think any team would be willing to listen to offers to any player because as the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, once famously said, everybody's got a price. It's like a C+ Ted DiBiase.
It wasn't bad, but at least you had emotions down.
Yeah. I mean,
that helps.
You got to lean it. I heard Paul Heyman say yesterday, you want to know the difference between a good wrestler and a great wrestler? Good wrestlers look up. When they act, when they emote, they look up. Why? So that the people in the cheap seats can see their faces and feel connected to them. I thought, dang, that's brilliant. Never thought of that before. Maybe that's why my professional wrestling career didn't take off. Because when I get sad, I look down.
There's still time.
I am 1-0. I am undefeated in tag team wrestling. It's true. So BY is going to get the start. I think they listen to offers, but I also think that they weren't going to be like, yeah, 7th round pick's good enough for a guy that we spent the number 1 overall selection for. No. Somebody was going to have to call in so desperate that they threw out like a 3rd and a 7th or something for BY before that team would have been interested in it. Nobody made that move. BY is still a Carolina Panther and a Carolina Panther that will be starting at quarterback against the Giants. I don't care what you say. I'm pulling for the guy. I am. I'm pulling for him on Sunday. I think you've started to. Does Bryce Young not look like a different cat the last 2 weeks? Or is it just me being overly optimistic?
I think it's about competition more so than anything. He hasn't had to deal with a certain level of defense, so it's made him look better.
It's not unfair.
And who's rooting against him? I want him to succeed. I just don't know that he's capable.
The internet at large, I think, is the answer. The internet at large, I think. You find a story on Reddit about Bryce Young, and it's like 80% of the posts in there are like, screw this cat. We should have traded him. He can't do it, yada, yada. It's just a little disappointing. But 'tis what it is. The internet's a terrible place, and everyone there is bad.
Just fandom. I mean, I don't know that that's anything unusual from any other team.
The toxicity with which BY has been attacked over the years is special.
Cleveland fans would beg to differ.
Yeah, well, Cleveland fans are dumb. You ran Johnny Football and Bake Show up out of there. So maybe not that. Hey, item number 2. Is this a story for the water cooler cheat sheet? You're damn right it is. 6:30 p.m. coverage starts 7 o'clock. First pitch is the Savannah Bananas are on the road. Where? Doug Kingsmore Stadium in lovely Clemson, South Carolina. The number 4 in the nation in the preseason poll. Clemson Tigers are playing, not baseball tonight, people. Not baseball. Playing banana ball tonight. The Savannah Bananas will be facing off against the Clemson University baseball team playing banana ball. A fan vote took place to select starters from across the 3 Banana League teams, the Bananas, the Party Animals, and the Firefighters. The All-Stars from those 3 teams will suit up as the Bananas tonight to take on the Clemson Tiger baseball team, ranked number 4 in the country in preseason rankings. It'll be the first official banana ball game for the Clemson Tigers, and it is on their home turf again tonight at Clemson Doug Kingsmore Stadium. That game will be coverage at 6:30, first pitch at 7, and it will be available to be streamed for free on the Banana Ball YouTube channel. You can go search that game on YouTube tonight and watch it live. They will have the game live highlights from it, et cetera, et cetera. I don't care what you say. What a fun way to get introduced to your 2024-2025 Clemson Tiger baseball team. Then watch them have a little fun playing a little nanner ball. I love this. I love it. I got to tell you right now, I put it on the wife and I's social calendar. I'm like, do not make plans on Thursday night. Ordinarily Thursday night, big date night. in the Myers-Brown household. Big date night for us. Go out, get some nice wine. There's a young lady that plays piano down the road from us. We go listen to her tickle the ivories, as they say, while we sip on a little Cabernet Sauvignon or Pinot Noir. Big fan. Not tonight. We're staying home. We're watching Banana Ball. She hates the Clemson Tigers, but she wants to watch this one because the Bananas are coming to town. And I'm going to tell you right now, that to me is why before the season, I told you guys in the NIL world, building the brand is now every bit as important as roster construction in your football team. If you want to be a great football team, you've got to not only put together a great football roster, and there's more to that now than just go get the best players. It used to be just go get the best players. Now it's go get the best players that got the right attitude, whatever. I got some sound from Kurt Signetti we're going to play for you a little later in the show about that. It used to be about, hey, go get the best players. Now it's go get the best players with the best mentality and the best this and the best that fit in and they want to be here and yada, yada, yada. But it's about building the brand as well. It's about making your school look like a place that people want to be. This is why I said South Carolina's win over the Texas A&M Aggies this weekend was a program-defining moment. Not because of the win. It helped, for sure. It was a program-defining moment because I was watching on TV and I went, damn, this is a show. The lights, the music, the lasers. It's great. Put on a show. It looked like a place that a young, formative 18-year-old Rob Brown making a decision about where he wanted to go advance his career studies would have gone, oh, that place. Their football stadium's a damn nightclub. I'm in. This looks incredible. Clemson has an opportunity on the baseball diamond to do that tonight. Have fun, put on a show alongside the showman of showmans when it comes to football or to baseball teams, the Savannah Bananas. Yeah, I'm watching. There's nothing else I'm doing tonight but watching Los Tigres versus whatever Bananas is in Spanish. We'll see.
I'm guessing it's probably bananas, but I could be wrong.
How do you say bananas in Spanish? I feel like my Spanish teacher, whose name was, not a joke, Mr. Rogers, would be very upset with me. My Spanish teacher, named Mr. Rogers, was French.
Did he not have like a Spanish name?
No, his name was Mr. Rogers.
Okay.
Yes, his Spanish name was Senor Rogers.
Okay,
but he was French. Right, a French accent.
My French teacher was Madame Noir.
I mean, that's French. I had Senor Rogers.
Her last name was Black, but Black in French is Noir.
Yeah, I think Rogers in Spanish is just Rogers. So
probably.
Just,
okay.
Senor Rogers.
So what are bananas in Spanish?
Platanos.
Ah, okay.
Platanos. Like plantains, but
Spanish. Yeah, I think, yeah.
So it's Clemson Los Tigres v. Savannah Platanos. Learn something new today. Apparently, colloquially, it is also La Banana. Kind of nailed that. Okay, item number 3 on the water cooler cheat sheet. I'm gonna be real honest. I didn't know where to go with this because none of you give a damn about the L.A. Lakers, but I'm going to give them to you anyway. 114-131, John Morant and the Grizz beat the absolute dog out of the Lakers last night. John Morant's a dog, dude. He's a dude. He's fun to watch play. I hope he keeps his head on straight this year and doesn't get suspended for half season again for being an idiot because he's fun as hell to watch play basketball. Dig this. Last night, LeBron James scored 39 points. 15 of 24 from the floor, 6-11 from deep, 3 of 4 from the charity stripe, had 7 boards, 6 assists, and a steal to go as well. No one else on the Lakers team scored more than 19. Austin Reeves had 19, 15 off the bench for Cam Reddish. Collectively, LeBron James, sorry, I was watching TV. LeBron James, 15 of 24. The rest of the team was like 15 of 42. LeBron James by himself made as many shots as the rest of the Lakers combined. JJ Redick last night lost his ever-loving mind. I got some audio from his press conference that is hysterical to me. Because I got to tell you, I think the Lakers thought it was going to be smooth sailing. And JJ's breaking down already. We are 9 games into the season, and my man's losing it. Hey, speaking of 9 games in, the Cavs are 9-0, Lonzo. They are the only undefeated 9-0 team. They are the first Cavaliers squad ever to get to 9-0, and they're doing it all with a rookie head coach. No rookie head coach has ever gone 9-0. That's a fun team. We're going to talk about them, too. We got some basketball to get to. We got Lulu Kesson coming up in about 42 minutes. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, quick read. We're coming right back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. The Rob Brown Show continues. It's the Fan Upstate. So, I told you I had some Curt Cignetti audio for you. Big Curt Cignetti fan.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
And I'll tell you, I think the rest of college football can learn a lot from Curt Cignetti. Now, I do think it is fair to ask the question, is Indiana for real or are they a mirage? And I've been asked that question on probably 2 or 3 different other shows that I have been interviewed on over the past couple of weeks. And the reason why is, and I told you this, the question mark about Clemson coming into that game against Louisville. And I will acknowledge I got fooled and I'm okay. Maybe it was because I was, optimistic. I want this team to win. I want this team to win because I get paid when they do. The question about Clemson coming into this Louisville game was, can they get trapped or are they even actually that good because the level of opponent they had played wasn't super high? And I think it is very fair to ask the same question about the Hoosiers. They don't really have any big signature wins that you can lean on and say, clearly, this team is good. They don't really have that game even until they play Ohio State. And we will learn very rapidly. Now, I have said one thing, and this is an approach that I take when I am looking at football teams like Indiana, like Clemson. I think you have to balance performance statistics against who those statistics are being racked up against. I think you have to balance what those statistics state nationally about your program against the types of teams that you have played nationally. Clemson had good offensive metrics. Good offensive, not great, not top 10, but good offensive metrics, 15, 20, 25, depending on what stats you were looking at. Indiana's defense has elite metrics. Indiana's defense, specifically their rush defense, have elite metrics. I mean, very good metrics. Their rush defense is inside of the top 10 on almost everything. In fact, I think the only non-top 10 defensive rush metric that they have is touchdown surrendered. I think they're like 13, 14, somewhere in that range. Everything else top 10. Number of them top 5. Yardage allowed, top 5. There's something to be said for that. So how did Curt Cignetti go to a place that is most certainly not known for its football prowess and have Indiana inside the top 10 in the inaugural 12-team playoff rankings? Curt Cignetti said it's about the team that you build. So how do you build that team? Indiana Hoosier head coach Curt Cignetti.
Toughness is number one in all positions. Ankle, knee, hip flexibility at all positions because it's a start-stop game. That's how you change directions, how you develop explosive power. Every position's got its own position-specific criteria. This is what's important to me. What drives a guy? What's his why? How motivated? Is he committed? Is he disciplined? What kind of family does he come from? What kind of habits has he formed at a young age? I'm into production over potential. I learned that a long time ago.
Since the implementation of name, image, and likeness, since the implementation of the transfer portal, I have said one thing, maybe more than anything else. Why are coaches not fans of NIL and the transfer portal? It's not because they're anti-player empowerment. It's not because they don't want their players to have nice things. Again, for those of you that have been fortunate enough to take a tour of the facilities of your favorite school, Clemson, South Carolina, or anybody else, you will notice that these players could live their entire life inside those facilities. They are nice. We've taken you backstage at Clemson before during Clemson Media Days. We've showed them to you. The practice facility is the most comfortable place I've ever been. The locker room is a damn luxury resort. They got a whole gaming area, golf simulator, bowling alley, foosball, video games, all kinds of stuff. The food that they get is better than I cook myself, and y'all, I can cook a little bit. They don't have an issue with players having nice things. The problem is they want those things to lure in a player, and then they want that player locked in, right? They want that player locked in. And I said when NIL and Portal came out, and I've said it a million times since then, I'm probably annoying some of you that have been with us the whole time in the Armada. The reason coaches are upset is because their job just got more difficult. Their job just got tougher. Their job just became more difficult. Because now you got to recruit a kid twice. You got to recruit them to your school, whether it's out of the portal or out of high school. And then you have to, as long as they are a member of your program, you have to continue recruiting them to get them to stay. This is why I appreciate what Curt Cignetti said at the end of that clip. He said, I'm looking at what is their why. I want to know what their why is. Is their why NIL? And again, can you fault a kid, hypothetically? Can you fault a kid who maybe came out of a poor neighborhood where mom and 2 or 3 siblings are all living in a 1-bedroom apartment? And they're all sharing a floor, right? They're eating rice every night. Can you fault that kid when he gets the opportunity to go make some damn money to take care of his family for wanting to do that? No. As I've said a million times, my biggest gripe has been college football seems to be the one place where fans are like, no, I don't want those players to be allowed to better themselves. So Curt looking around and saying, what's your why? If the why is because you want to get your parents up out of a 1-bedroom apartment, you want to get them a nice place. If the why is because you had to walk 3 miles to school just so you could play football every day and you're looking to better your life, hell, maybe you fit in, maybe you don't, right? But if the why is because you want to go to the league, or if the why is because you want to go to journalism school, and this particular school has the best J school in the country, and you can get that Scully to go to the best J school in the country, whatever the why is, if you address that, now you know what your school needs to do to earn the loyalty from that kid. This has been my point the whole time. College football back in the day, loyalty was a one-way street. These players were expected to be undyingly loyal to a school, to a coach, to a program that had no reason to be loyal back to them. And that's not to say no schools were, but not all of them were. And now if you want kids to stay in your program, you've got to be loyal. You've got to say, we're going to give back to you the way that you're giving to us. And a scholarship in a dorm room ain't it. That ain't it. Right? As Robert Griffin pointed out earlier this week, Baylor said that Baylor benefited to the tune of $500 million. $500 million from Robert Griffin III bringing a Heisman Trophy to the Baylor Bears. $500 million. $500 million. I don't care if Robert Griffin III got 9 master's degrees from Baylor. What he got in return for Baylor is nowhere near even half of what he provided to that school. So how do you make sure kids are loyal? Well, one of the things is you understand them, where they're coming from, what their drive is, and you cater to that. And I got to tell you, Curt Cignetti looks like he's figured that out. Curt Cignetti, why does Curt Cignetti win?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
Because he's figured out the formula. It's not just that kid's a really good outside linebacker, go recruit him. It's what made him that way. Why is he that way? Why is he the way that he is? What drives him to be that way? Is he doing it because he wants to be rich and famous? Maybe he doesn't fit in here. Is he doing it because he wants to get his mom up out of a 1-bedroom apartment? Maybe he does fit in here, but we got to make sure that his NIL deal keeps him happy. Is it because he grew up a lifelong Indiana Hoosier fan and he just wants to put the IU on the side of the helmet? That's a kid we're pretty sure is going to be here 5-6 years. Maybe we go out of our way to get that kid here, right? The point that I've made the whole time is coaches don't like it because it made their job tougher. And if it made their job tougher, Kurt Signetti's figured out the formula around that. Let's figure out who the hell this kid is and then cater our program to that. I love that clip from Kurt Signetti. All right, we'll talk some more football when we come back. Lulu Keston at 8 o'clock. The Rob Brown Show carries on. It's the Fan Upstate. All right, chat, give me 45 seconds and I'll come right back. Are you taking off? Yes. Okay. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. Well, this is a vibe. I dig it. Hey, let's do this because we got Lulu Keston coming up at 8 o'clock, and this is going to be one of the longer segments we have remaining. Let's do the Audio Blitz, the best sound that we've heard from around the world of sports over the past couple of days, and I've got a handful. I want to start with this. We talked a little bit about back in the water cooler cheat sheet that opens at 7 o'clock hour every day. The LA Lakers fall last night, get smoked by Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. Well, after the game was over, JJ Redick took to the podium. He is the head coach of the LA Lakers. And the theory, if you believe it, and just so we're very clear, I do. The theory is that JJ Redick is the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. because LeBron James is the star and also general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers. JJ Redick, who, for the record, I like a lot. I like JJ Redick a lot. I like them as an analyst. I like him as a coach. I think he calls people to the carpet for bad takes. I think he bases his takes on reality, stats, and information. I've always liked him. So I actually am pulling for him as the head coach of the Lakers. His press conference, though, it didn't go great.
JJ, you're talking a lot about two or three guys, getting them to put in the effort. You're talking a lot about wanting to play hard and LeBron being the guy that played hard in tonight's game. How do you address that with the team? What's your philosophy for approaching? I just did.
Okay. He said, hey, you've talked about making sure that you have 3 or 4 dudes that are going real hard any given night. And he has. He's talked about it. Can't just have LeBron out there going for 39 points and then nobody else stepping in. And there are some guys on this team I like. I think Lonzo and I are both big Austin Reeves guys. There's some guys that are trying. But Austin Reeves, phenomenal hustle player, not the most talented basketball player on planet Earth. Respectfully, he's very good. But he's not a star, right? He's in the mix, but he's not a star.
He has moments of fire.
Absolutely. He was giving it to you last night. But outside of that, the Lakers just don't have anybody else. By the way, no Anthony Davis last night. And even when they do have Anthony Davis, let's keep it a buck. There are nights Anthony Davis is out there, but he's not really out there, right? Well, the sound that you heard when asked, how do you address the team to get them there? JJ Redick said, I just did. And then, before he had even finished his 3-word answer, so he took the mic. I don't want to dramatize it. So I'm not going to say he slammed it on the table in front of him, but he set it down with an unnecessary amount of force. And then he got up and left. Just gone. I'm out. No goodbye. No nada. He went, I just did. Walked out.
Why is this a surprise? This is what I expect from him almost every time. He seems kind of, in my opinion, like a jerk. And maybe he's emulating, copying like Popovich and some of these other guys who don't feel like doing the press conference and pretty upset because they just lost a game and just shut everything down. And it seems like it's okay for some guys and for other guys it's not. Part of your job is to get up there and do the interview. Try to be a little bit gracious. I understand being upset because you just lost and not enjoying the questions. Didn't seem like a bad question to me. Some questions are pretty stupid. I thought that was a pretty good question.
I don't have an issue with it. And for the record, the reason I bring it up is twofold. Number one, like I mentioned, I am a fan of JJ Redick. And I part of the reason I've been a fan of JJ Redick is because JJ Redick has been, unlike a lot of other media talking heads, able to address tough situations around the NBA in a way that doesn't resort to hot takes, that doesn't resort to unnecessary drama, that doesn't resort to picking fights with players because they know it's going to get them attention. Right, SAS? You get the point. Part of the reason I was excited to see what JJ Redick brought to the table as a coach was because JJ Redick, I think, approaches sports the way I do. Let's talk about what's wrong. Let's talk about why it's wrong. Let's talk about how it can be fixed. There's no sense in coming in here and farting glitter while we talk sunshine and rainbows. Because talking about the good is fun, but it doesn't help anything. Talking about the good is good for my emotions and my fifis. And don't get me wrong, Liberal the Woke Warrior is concerned about the mental health of the country. And I think focusing on good things is a good thing. But I also think that Rob Brown, the guy who's been involved in competition his entire life, including being involved in one of the most competitive industries that a young man can be involved in, understands that if all you do is talk about the good, you'll never get better. If all you do is just repeatedly do the things that are working and never work on being better at the things that aren't, you're never going to get anywhere. So for JJ to have the media, the voice of the people, say, hey, man, how do you fix this? Head coach of one of the most famous and prominent franchises in American sports. How do you make this better? and he just says, no, bleep this, I'm out, and walks away, it looks as if, whether it's true or not, it looks as if the head coach of the Lakers is having a meltdown with no answers.
This is very disappointing because it looks like there's not going to be a repeat of the mid-season tournament, and they're not going to get to raise another banner.
I mean,
so disappointed.
I don't give a damn. I love the mid-season tournament. I think it's great.
Have they announced which games matter?
Yeah, the schedule's already out for the mid-season tournament. Schedule was built into the NBA season.
Like it was last year.
Right.
That's why I was asking what games matter and what games don't, because they pick and choose like they did last year.
This is also true. All right, let's stay with basketball here for just a minute. I got 2 clips for you here. Sometimes in order to be good in one spot, you got to sacrifice in another. Things aren't going great for the Detroit Pistons. They've had 2 games this week. One of them, Brooklyn, New York, taking on the Knicks. The other one was last night in Charlotte, North Carolina, taking on the Buzz. I want to start with earlier this week. Play audio. It's not going to make sense until I tell you at the end what it is.
Almost Just wait.
What the hell was that, Rob? I'm glad you asked, Alonzo.
Yeah, because I am thoroughly confused and have no idea what's going on.
That was the sound of the New York City subway. Well, why are you playing that, Rob? Here's why. Because the Detroit Pistons were in New York City to take on the Knickerbockers. You know what else was happening earlier this week in New York City? The New York City Marathon, one of the most famous events in the world. An event that has thousands of people from around America and the globe come to run a marathon through the world's most famous city.
First I've heard of it.
The New York Marathon.
All right. Can I continue?
Yes, please do.
This is the first I've heard of it, that it happened or was happening, because people don't talk about it.
Sure, I'm not saying it's on Sports Center.
Right.
But you know of it.
I've heard of it before.
It's arguably outside of the Olympics themselves.
So I'm not aware of how much more traffic it brings other than, people running on the street.
You're not the only one. The other people who have never heard about how much traffic it brings to the amount of people on the street, which, by the way, it shuts the city down because there are thousands of people who participate in this event. The other people who have not heard about it are the people who are in charge of travel. You heard the sounds of the New York City subway system, Lonzo. The sounds of the people that were talking were the Detroit Pistons, because that team full of 6'9", 10, 11-inch tall monsters all had to squeeze they big asses on the subway to get to the game because the Pistons didn't know what was happening. So the team had to squeeze onto a subway car and take the subway to get to MSG.
All right, for those of us who've only seen subways on TV and have no idea what it's like, have you actually been on the subway?
Many times.
All right, so what's the headroom like in a subway?
Inside the car, it's not that bad. But the door to get in the New York City subway, if you're 6'9", it's probably not comfortable.
Yeah, but you're also used to that because most doors are not built.
The Detroit Pistons aren't used to having to get on the subway.
How would they normally get to the building?
Buses, limousines.
I doubt they arrive in limousines.
They're not their own SUVs.
Okay.
They're not strapped in the subway. And then the Pistons came down to Charlotte, and this happened. Nope, that's the wrong clip. I played the wrong one. Let me try that again. Then they came down to Charlotte, and this happened. The Charlotte Hornets knock off the Detroit Pistons 108-107, and they do so because Brandon Miller, who had an opportunity at a wide-open 3 to end the game and missed it. Do you know what he did? Cats out there, young ones, listen to Uncle Rob, big basketball guy here. Follow your shots. Brandon Miller shot that three, and what did he do? Did he drop back to half court and admire the butte that he just put up? No. He released that ball. He crashed the rim. The ball took a high bounce. The Pistons didn't box out. So Brandon Miller, the Alabama Crimson Tider, skied, went up, got it, put it back in, wins the game. Y'all, when you drafted this guy, I told you Brandon Miller's gonna be a star in the NBA. And there you had it last night. My dude hitting the game winner. Texter says, yes, Brandon Miller. Yes, indeed. That was spectacular. Spectacular. Bravo, well done. Kurt Signetti. We played a little audio from him. Let's play one more. Kurt Signetti. Now, this is dated audio. This goes back to Big Ten Media Days. You'll remember Big Ten Media Days. You had Michigan State's coach that didn't know where the hell he was. You had all this. Kurt Signetti took to the mic. Indiana predicted to come second to last in an 18-team conference. And Lonzo, he said this.
You know, normally at these things, I stand up here and we're picked to win the league. It's just usually how it's been. I have been picked next to last twice, which we're picked 17th out of an 18-team league, and I get it. Just the 2 times we're picked next to last, in 2022, we won the conference championship. And in 2017, we inherited an 8-45 team and won 8 in a row and played JMU the last game of the year for the conference championship. Now, I'm not into making predictions. That's just a historical fact. Okay? So I know you guys have been waiting for me to say something crazy. That wasn't quite crazy.
Dude, he said, I'm not calling my shot. But I've been picked to finish last or second to last in the conference 2 times. One of those times, I won the damn conference. The other time, I played for it and lost to a real good team, but I was in the game. Indiana's 9-0. The Hoosiers are good. They're good. Now, are they going to be able to stand up to the Buckeyes? You know how I know they're good, Lonzo? Who's Indiana play before they play Ohio State? You know off the top of your head? No. Nobody does. I don't know. And I've been talking about it for 2 segments today.
I'm going to guess Illinois.
I don't even know. Let's go find out. Why not? I should know. I don't know. I've been talking about it for a week and a half on different shows around the country. Before they get to Ohio State, Lonzo, here's how I know Indiana is actually good and America has finally come around and believe that Indiana's good. Because this Saturday, Lonzo, they got Michigan, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. We're talking Kurt Signetti. We're talking the Hoosiers.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
And nobody gives a damn that they're playing Big Blue. Now, Michigan's not Michigan from last year. Michigan's not even, frankly, that good this year. In fact, quite the opposite. Michigan's pedestrian at best. They're 5-4. They may finish 6-6 coming off a natty. I think they're fine with it. This is a team that just got drummed by Oregon. They lost to Illinois. They lost to Washington. They got smoked by Texas back in week 2. It's still a proud program. Still a program with some dogs over there. Indiana's got Michigan this weekend, and nobody's talking about it. We're all dialed in for 2 weeks down the road when the Hoosiers take on the Buckeyes. You don't do that with teams that aren't good. When we were talking about Clemson last week, we weren't saying, hey, Clemson's got Pittsburgh a couple of weeks away. That's the last ranked team they got to play this year. They're not looking at that team and saying, Clemson's got to be ready for the Pitt Panthers. We said, Louisville's coming to the house. Is it a trap game? Do they expose Clemson? Do they this? Do they that? Do they this? Do they that? And none of that happened. With Indiana, we're not talking about them playing the reigning, defending, undisputed college football national champions, my friends. We are talking about the Hoosiers playing the number 2 team in the country 2 weeks from now. This team's fun. This is what college football's about, my dudes, my dudettes. Texter said, when the hell did Indiana win the conference? Well, he's talking about his days back when he was the head coach at JMU. And I know it's not the same. I know it's not the same.
What's JMU?
That would be James Madison University.
What level of football do they play?
Not Big Ten football, sure. And nobody is sitting here saying it's the same thing. But he did take over a real bad JMU squad, and they were real good when he left. And the formula seems to be working. I am all on board with the Hoosiers. Big fan. Lulu Casson from the Greenville News Talk, South Carolina Gamecocks. I'm on board with Shano and the Cox. We'll talk about that with Lulu Casson after Lonzo seduces you with this Sports Flash.
Yeah. I'm just here so I don't get fined. The Kansas City Chiefs said the injury sustained by quarterback Patrick Mahomes in Monday night's win over Tampa was a rolled ankle. Mahomes described the ankle as sore, but said he was able to move around comfortably. Head coach Andy Reid said the Chiefs don't plan on putting limitations on Mahomes at this point. 4 Cleveland Cavaliers starters and a pair of reserves scored in double digits in a 131-122 win over the New Orleans Pelicans last night. The Cavs are a perfect 9-0. Best start in the history of the franchise. Rookie head coach Kevin Atkinson also becomes the first head coach in NBA history to reach 9-0 in their debut season. I don't know if you knew this, but that's pretty good. Tune in Saturday at 12:30 as the Furman Paladins take on the Wofford Terriers. It's Furman versus Wofford right here on your home for Paladins football. It's us. It's right here. It's the Fan, upstate.
And away we go. The third hour of the Rob Brown Show is underway. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown and the great one, Lonzo, with you. Rolling through a 4-hour sports talk radio extravaganza. And happy to have the Armada along for the ride. You know who else is happy today? Segue, very good at this. Shane Beamer, I assume, is a very happy man after the performance of his South Carolina Gamecocks last week. They had the number 10 team in the country, the Texas A&M Aggies, come to town. Those weirdos in their painted up skin-tight overalls doing their dumb little dances on the Capitol House stairs got sent back to College Station with the fat L by the South Carolina Gamecocks. It's really the only fan base I'm openly hostile to, the Texas A&M Aggies, and I don't apologize for it. They are weirdos, and while I'm sure that she will not agree with me because she is a genuine, kind, polite person who is above the stooping down to the level that I am willing to do here on the show. The great Lulu Kesson of the Greenville News joins us here to talk about it. Lulu, first off, hi, good morning. How's it going?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Did you find Lulu Kesson? And if you want off the hook for the question, I have no problem with it. But did you find the Texas A&M weirdos as weird as I told you they were going to be? Be honest.
I thought they were a little funky, but I didn't really see many of them. Like, I sit so far away from any fans, and I didn't see a lot on social media on Friday. But I don't think you were outlandish in what you told me last week.
Oh, I wasn't. I was deadly accurate with what I told you last week. Lulu Kesson from the Greenville News here on the Rob Brown Show every single Thursday at 8 o'clock straight up to talk a little Gamecock athletics. And as we work toward the end of the football season, we will start getting a little basketball in here down the line as well. Both the men's and women's program off to, I'll just say starts, because it didn't go great for the men out of the gate. We'll talk about that later, but let's keep it dialed in on the gridiron for right now. Lulu Kesson, 30,000-foot view. What went so right for South Carolina in this win?
What impressed me most is that a lot went wrong, but South Carolina finally didn't let that cost them the game. Like, I'm thinking of that weird drop kick, like kickoff from Kai Kroger where Beamer just couldn't get out of his own way and just called a really dumb trick play. And that kind of made all of us be like, oh, like we've seen this film before. So I thought it was really impressive how South Carolina just continuously rebounded from its own errors, like Rocket Sanders kind of fumbling at a really costly time and then scoring 2 touchdowns afterwards. And I mean, when South Carolina went up 14-0, it was like everyone was like, oh, like LSU, like traces of LSU. So I think South Carolina played very well. Did they play a complete game? No, but I think they played very well. And just, it was very visible that they were so sick of losing. They were so sick of losing really close games. And it just felt like their hunger level was just completely different on Saturday against A&M.
So we've been talking a little bit about it over the last couple of weeks, and it's the concept of discipline. I had ESPN's Marty Smith on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him, what would he say is the biggest thing about Shane Beamer? And he said, this team feels like it's dangerously close to learning how to close out games. And if they get to the point that they learn how to close out games, they immediately become a threat to some big names. Kind of felt like that was the case. And again, I got to see it multiple times, Lulu. Like, happy with the A&M win. Now you got to go to Vanderbilt, which Alabama learned is actually a dangerous place this year. If we see this team, in my opinion, and I want yours as well, if we see that lesson carry over and they go get into a scrap with Vandy and they're able to close the door on the doors, then I think we can start looking at South Carolina and going, okay, now they are for real. But if they go have another game like they did against Ole Miss or even a letdown like they did against LSU or Alabama, then I think at that point you go, okay, same old, same old. So what does next week look like for you with the lessons that South Carolina hopefully learned at home against A&M?
I agree entirely. I think I was saying the same thing about the Oklahoma game. And with the bye week, I was like, okay, South Carolina is going to be judged most on how they learned from the sloppy play that they had against Ole Miss out of the last bye week. Can they regroup and be better? And then they come out against Texas A&M, and they are. And I think the only way they prove that this isn't a fluke and that they're actually making improvements in a positive direction is how they play against Vanderbilt. And it's almost like Vanderbilt right now is the biggest test because I think Shane Beamer is getting a lot of praise, but I think that praise will quickly evaporate if South Carolina doesn't show up 2 weeks in a row, because I think the whole thing is that to exactly your point, everyone's sort of like, oh, South Carolina has been knocking on the door so long. They're finally actually knocking the door down, but is it actually a consistent trend? Are they getting better? Or is it sort of like, oh, they show up one game and then they kind of don't show up 2 weeks in a row the next?
Yeah, that word consistency, right? We talked about it the last couple of weeks on the show. I've called it the C word. It's the C word. It's been the biggest bugaboo for Shane Beamer. It's consistency out of his football team after Oklahoma, after Texas A&M. I think you string 3 games together where when things are going well, you ride the high, and when things kind of slow down, as they did late in the first half for South Carolina, how do you put nose back to grindstone and keep going? They do that 3 weeks in a row, and the narrative shifts a little bit, in my opinion.
Right. And I think also it's very fair for a lot of what Shane was talking about earlier in the season if South Carolina is able to end the season the way it is. And what I mean is his offense is inexperienced. They still technically are, but they're making positive, changes. They're improving. And I think that speaks to what Shane has been advocating all season long, which is they just need time. So it's very fair, and it makes sense that everything's going right for South Carolina now. So if that trend continues, I don't think Shane's excuses in the beginning of the season for why things were failing are wrong, but I think he can only use them if actually time is proving that he's right and helping South Carolina, and the younger players improve.
We're talking with Lulu Kesson. She covers the South Carolina Gamecock Athletic Department for the Greenville News here on the Rob Brown Show. Joins us every Thursday at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's a couple of different players that I want to talk about. And let's start with a guy that had, fairly or unfairly, that's subjective, taken some criticism from Gamecock fans, and that's obviously Lenoris Sellers. He becomes one of 2 100-yard rushers against Texas A&M on the season. There have only been 2, and they both played this past weekend, Lenoris Sellers and Rocket Sanders. You add on a couple 100 yards and a couple of tutty passes. Lenoris Sellers, to me, Lulu Kesson, started to show a little bit of that development that we've been waiting to see, started to show a little bit more understanding, a little bit more aggressiveness in terms of utilizing his leg to open up the field and then to finish plays if he needed to. And on top of that, I thought that credit where credit is due. Dow Loggins did a good job of working enough designed runs in to force the defense to stay honest without exhausting Lenoris Sellers. I thought everything about this kid's game plan and game execution on Saturday, Lulu, I think it's what Gamecock fans have been waiting for to see out of the young man.
Entirely. And I think the play where he just absolutely trucked his defender to get the first down was so representative of that, especially because of the criticism that he's got, and honestly valid in my opinion, where he slid, just short of the first down, and just his field and game awareness hasn't always been there. And I think that Lenoris just played exactly what you said, the game that South Carolina fans have been wanting him to play. He was loose. I mean, he wasn't perfect. He had some bad overthrown passes, and, he didn't turn the ball over for the second game in a row because the fumble that he had got called back for a hold. But I think Lenoris just was playing free, and he had an offensive coordinator that was calling plays that catered to that. And I think that, it's very fair to just be like, hey, Dow finally opened up the playbook. But I think overall it was a lot of what Lenoris was doing mentally, and that was just assertiveness and confidence. And it was, like you said, everything's going to get better for him with time naturally. So it's like, is he doing his part to improve and control his controllables? And it felt like he has been, and it felt like everything was sort of coming together against A&M.
Lulu Kesson joining us here on the show. We talked about consistency, and I think this is another aspect of that, Lulu, because there were games earlier this year where we said the same thing, right? It looks like Dow Loggins opened up the playbook and then turned around the next week, and it felt like that went away a little bit. And granted, one of those was in the win over Oklahoma, where South Carolina, I want to say they had it in the bag at halftime, but you felt real good about it at halftime, and it came out second half, and it looked like you had kind of taken the foot off of the accelerator. And I said, look, that concerns me a little bit, right? It concerns me. You're not taking the opportunity to keep getting better, to be a little bloodthirsty and show that you can do that, whatever. This game, it never felt like South Carolina was even close to letting up. I mean, it felt to me, even late in the game after that last touchdown that made it the final score, and it was very clear that A&M, there was no path back to victory here. It felt like the team just kept playing the Gamecock football that got them there. And from an outsider on the inside, it felt pretty good.
Yes. And I think going forward, Shane loves to tell us, like, oh, every week in the SEC is different. Every week in the SEC is hard. And I'm not saying this to knock Vanderbilt or say that they're not a talented team, because they are, and it's going to be a tough task. But I think that if South Carolina drops this game after playing the way they played against Texas A&M, then a lot of Shane's excuses and a lot of his outlook on this team, kind of go away. I can't hear him say that, they're learning from mistakes. They understand things when they don't understand the importance of consistency. And I think there's no better time to prove that they have understood that than this weekend.
I would like Lulu Kesson to talk just a minute about a couple of abstracts. On Monday, I said that this was a program-defining result. And I'm not just talking about the win. I was watching this game outside in the fire pit, had the outside TV fire going with the wife, and we were having a ball watching this game. But what was interesting was the YouTube TV stream didn't have commercials. All right. So whenever they would call timeout or somebody scored whatever, they would go to an aerial cam and it showed the entire interior of Willie B without cutting away. And they had the lights and the lasers and the smoke and sandstorm and the music and all this stuff going on. And I told her, I was like, it looks like a damn nightclub that has a football game going on the outside of it. It looked fun to me. She looked at me and said, we have to go to a night game. We can't not go to another game this year, right? It was so compelling that my 40-year-old wife, who does not like to be out of bed after 7:30 p.m., was like, we got to go party. I have to be there by the end of this year. The program-defining win for me was not just that Shane found some consistency. You beat a top 10 team and you finally closed out a game. But, man, it looked like Willie B was just a damn fun place to be on a Saturday night in Columbia, South Carolina. That's the kind of stuff that I think gets attention and builds brands in 2024. If the trajectory upwards for Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks continues, Lulu Kesson, I think you'll be able to circle last Saturday night at Willie B as one of the milestone moments for why.
Right. And Shane's in his fourth year. Like, this is a very important season for him overall. And I do agree that it's not really, I guess, how you start a season, it's how you end it. And if everybody in the program isn't capitalizing on every aspect of last Saturday, including the environment, like you're pointing out, then I think that's kind of a lost opportunity. And I would be very interested to see how things shake out in general if that energy and momentum that was just kind of at this iceberg, at the tip of this iceberg on Saturday, isn't, matched week after week.
I agree. And there's some other programs that I kind of compare and contrast to, right? Like I look at Alabama when they lost to Vanderbilt. I mean, that's a program defining win for Vanderbilt. It's also a historic loss for Alabama, yet they came back home the next week. And Bryant-Denny Stadium was absolutely full and rocking. And I had a buddy of mine like, how do you lose to Vanderbilt and have this many people show up? And the answer is because they're way good, way more often than they're way bad, right? Like the definition of Alabama football is successful. The fans are coming back. Shane Beamer's got the opposite problem. The problem historically for South Carolina has been they get these big wins, these historic wins, and then they turn around and it feels like regression to the mean the next week. if this is why this Vanderbilt game is so important, and it's very interesting that all of the sudden Vanderbilt is one of the tougher places to play in the SEC, or at least to go win against a respectable team. If Shane gets a dub in the house that Bama lost in, over the team that beat Bama, to a guy in Raiola, or excuse me, not Raiola, in Pavia, the quarterback there at Vanderbilt that has skyrocketed up the Heisman Trophy leaderboard the last couple of weeks. They go get this win, and all of a sudden you go, the Gamecocks aren't regressing. The Gamecocks are maintaining, but you build that into how much of a nightclub vibe and how much fun Willie B look like, and the fact that you did it in front of a litany of high-caliber recruits that came to check it out. To me, Lulu Kesson, this game this Saturday is the biggest opportunity, I won't say biggest game, but biggest opportunity that Shane Beamer has had since he showed up in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yes. And looking at it too, you know, you and I, we both were like, there's no chance they beat Alabama. Like Ole Miss, I was very doubtful just because Ole Miss was so good at things in areas where South Carolina was so weak. Whereas this game, I truly just, every stat is in South Carolina's favor. And again, like Vanderbilt is, I know it's going to be a great game. I know it's going to be a close game. I know Vanderbilt's QB is incredibly talented and poses a huge threat to South Carolina. I'm not saying that, but looking at it, I think you can't shy away from the fact that this Vanderbilt game is also an incredibly great time. Like it's a great time to be playing a very talented Vanderbilt team. And I think that kind of goes exactly to your point. Like, I don't think Shane Beamer, if this doesn't come out his way, is going to be able to walk away from it being like, oh, well, they're a talented team. They're obviously, you know, they're really experienced. And, you know, it's not an Ole Miss. It's not an Alabama. It's a team that is very similar to you in terms of what they're doing with their season this year. And like you said, it's all about taking advantage of the opportunity. And I think this is the best opportunity that they've had to win an SEC game this season before the game starts. Obviously, Oklahoma, that turned into a win within like 2 minutes. But yeah.
Lulu Kesson, last one. We'll let you go after this. South Carolina goes on the road and knock off the Vanderbilt Commodores and probably become a top 25 team in the playoff rankings if blank.
Got to have a big game from Kyle and Dylan. I know that Vanderbilt is afraid of South Carolina's pass rush. And so I know that there's some controversy whether Dylan was being held for most of the game against A&M, and that's sort of why he disappeared. But those two really gotta pose a challenge and a threat early on. And Vanderbilt obviously has a really mobile quarterback, so they got to be on their A game and give South Carolina's defense the best chance it has to eliminate any, you know, leaky Houdini plays, as Clayton White said on offense.
I'll tell you who else is afraid of South Carolina's pass rush. Every other quarterback in the country that they will play. Lulu Kesson covers the South Carolina Gamecock Athletic Department for the Greenville News and is kind and gracious enough to join us every single Thursday at 8 a.m. Lulu Kesson, you are the best. Are you headed over to Nashville?
I'm not. I'm still, if you couldn't tell my answers in my voice, I was in Vegas until like 2 days ago for women's basketball. So like my time change and everything, like I have no idea what time it is right now, but I'll be home. I'll be home this weekend.
I want you to know that unfortunately I can't go to Nashville, Tennessee because I'm still recovering from Las Vegas, Nevada. Is a hell of a way to live your life, Lulu. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
You are the best. We will talk to you next week, young lady. Thank you as always.
All right. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You as well. Lulu Kesson from the Greenville News. You can follow her on X at Lulu Kesson, LULUKESIN. Fantastic follow if you're a Gamecock fan diving into college basketball season as that gets underway, but continuing to follow the Gamecock football program as well. When we come back here in just a minute, let's talk some more collegiate footy. We'll stay in the world of football. We got Peyton Ask Mario coming up at 9 o'clock. We'll rerun the Rashad Beard interview at 8:40. We got Fight Club at 9:20. It's all coming down the pipe on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, one more live, and we're coming right back. Stay right there for me. morning, and I think it is, without question, the correct decision. He has looked like a different cat. Not great, not Pro Bowler, not blowing anybody off the stat sheet, but he's been consistent, right? We've talked about this. Quarterbacks can go win you games, they can go lose you games, or maybe for a guy like a Bryce Young. And sometimes this is even true about the greats. They can go do enough not to lose you the game, right? They can say, we're going to let other guys win the game, and we're just going to provide the platform for us not to lose, and we'll let the other guys go actually win. And I think that's what Bryce Young has done. Granted, you've only won one of the two, but the game against Denver, he kept you alive in it, and the defense just melted down. That's been the big concern. Last week, the defense actually showed up. Last week, the defense kept the Saints out of the end zone during multiple red zone drives, and BY did enough to keep you alive and allow Chuba Hubbard to carry you to the dub, which is what Lonzo's been asking for this team to do all year long. Run the ball. Run the ball. Run the ball. They ran the ball. They won.
A couple years, actually.
That's fair. That's fair. So Bryce Young getting to QB1. By the way, Jonathan Brooks expected to be activated off the injured reserve list today. Expected to be, if he's not activated by this evening, then he will finish the season on the IR. So we will find out today if they do activate John Brooks. And if he is activated, will he be active on Sunday morning and get his first touch as a Carolina Panther? We'll talk more about that coming up. We did bring that up to Rashad Beard in the interview on Monday. We're going to run that interview for you and talk about the Cats and their game coming up against the New York Giants after this break. Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast is next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, one more live back with Rashad. Stay right there for me. Rashad, but Rashad Beard's over in Germany. So we came on the show Monday, and we talked Carolina Panther football here from the Panther Nation podcast. This is Rashad Beard. You know, I hate me just as a I hate me as a person. Here from the Panther Nation podcast is Rashad Beard. Our next guest is here. Go ahead, bro. Have at it. Gone. Have a good time.
Come on, can I get a proper introduction for a winner, please?
Yeah, I this is disappointing. All right, first Friday, and now, I mean, intro Rashad right. I mean, come on.
Our next guest just watched his football team win their 4th game in 2 years. And unfortunately, he had to do it at the expense of my garbage-ass football team with my garbage head coach and my Rashad Beard is the host of the #1 Carolina Panther podcast in all of the land. It is one that if you are a fan of silver and blue football and you're not subscribed on the YouTube channel, you're just doing it wrong. And a man that even when I know my team is eating an L, and officially, thank you for the crown, Rashad Beard, crowning us the worst team in the NFL, I will still show up and put down some brown liquor with him at halftime. Rashad Beard in the house now. Go on, young man. Have a good time, but I'll just be over here if you need me.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate that wonderful introduction. A winner's introduction. I greatly appreciate it. A great game yesterday. This is kind of what Panther Nation needed. We needed a W in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and we got it against an ailing Saints team. And listen, as much as I saw what happened on X with the former players. You got guys kind of dumping on the team, and it just feels good to see the Saints.
You got guys on the team dumping on the team, Rashad. This is a new level of broken, dude.
By the way, why are you smirking when he said good game? As I said earlier, I thought it was a good game. Yeah, I mean,
it's a good game.
When your team wins, no matter how bad they look they won.
I want you to know, I met Rashad at halftime. I bought the shots because I'm a good guy. And I said to him and Carlo, who was there too, I said to both of them, this is an ugly game. And Rashad said, yes, it is. So don't let him pull this, it was a good game. It was a good result, Rashad. Not a good game. It was the ugliest damn football game I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it was ugly, but sometimes you got to win ugly. Sometimes that's what you need to do. And when you learn how to win ugly, you can win pretty down the road. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We just got to get the W, and that's what we did on Sunday. So we'll take that, Mr. Rod Brown. We don't care how we win. We got the W.
Oh, listen, I respect
you know what I mean?
I respect it. I'm in the side. We have the same record now. All right. We have lost 7 games in a row. Listen, I'm gonna call it square right now. I think you beat New York and Germany this week. I do not think the New Orleans Saints win this week. I think we eat L number 8 because again, my team is broken right now. I think by Sunday night, by the time we go to sleep, Rashad Beard, the Carolina Panthers will be above the New Orleans Saints in the division.
I firmly agree with that. I'm going to Germany to watch my team in person over across the pond. So that's going to be great. And yeah, this is what we need. The Panthers need this. We need a little bit of momentum. We need something to look forward to and stack some W's. I feel great about, and I've been on this show and other shows, and just talking about how, we need to start Bryce Young and allow him to get some confidence. And it wasn't a perfect game by any means, but he did what he needed to do to get the W. You look at the stat line, of course, it's not going to look great, but when you get, when XL, your big body wide receiver gets the balls taken from him, that's not on Bryce Young. That was beautiful ball placement, and the DB just made a better play. So when you look deeper into the numbers, Bryce Young is starting to play a little bit better, and that's all we can ask for. That's what I've been asking for. Just play him, and let's see what happens. And then by the end of the year, we can make a determination.
I just wanted him to give me a look when I said I wanted to ask a question. He's just not happy. A lot of people on the stream are asking this question, and I am curious about this too. Your opinion? Shouldn't they have lost if they want a better draft pick? Should they be tanking? It bothers me when people ask that question.
Yeah, I hate that because you can't please everybody. Like we are in the most win-win scenario we can actually be in, right? You play Bryce Young. If he plays well, then you have a franchise quarterback. Like, ultimately, that's the goal for the Carolina Panthers, is to find out whether you have a franchise quarterback or not. So if you play Bryce Young, he can be the guy, right? That's the ultimate goal, is to find out whether Bryce Young is going to be the guy or not.
Pop off, young man.
Yeah, I think it's stupid. I think this is the most just show some confidence in the. He's coming off one of the best games he ever played in his career, right? Show a little bit of confidence in the guy and say, hey, look, Bryce Young is going to start until he gives me a reason to not start him. Just say it. I don't understand what's so difficult about showing a little bit of confidence. Maybe you're trying to play these little mind games with them to like say, oh, you got to earn it. Like, that's just dumb. Like this, just say you're going to start the guy so that we can get some continuity going here until he gives me a reason not to. I don't understand what's so difficult about that.
It's Bryce Young's not his guy. I mean, that's what it seems like. It's not his guy. He's looking forward to bringing his guy in. At least that's what I'm reading into it.
Well, yeah, that's fair, but like the guy's playing okay. Like, I understand that you may not, you may be on the fence about him being the guy moving forward and him being the guy in the future, but he's going to give you the best opportunity to win right now. I don't care about Andy Dalton and what he did in that one little game. That was cool. Bryce Young right now is the best of the two. Let him play. Let him figure it out. Let him get a little bit of momentum behind him, and let's get this thing going. And let's find out truly if Bryce Young is the guy for the future, because that is what's best for the Carolina Panthers. You invested all this money or all this capital into Bryce Young. Let's find out if he's the guy. That's best for the Carolina Panthers, not Andy Dalton or anybody else. Bryce is best for business.
So I for the record, I agree with all that. And for the record, at least down here in the upstate of South Carolina, there's been one cat that has been defending Bryce Young the entire ride since he showed up there. But putting that to the side, there's one more theory floating out there, Rashad Beard. The NFL trade deadline is tomorrow. There's some teams in the market for a QB, and the belief is if BY ain't the guy and Dave Canales does not want to continue to work with him, even if you grab a 4th, 5th round pick for Bryce Young, there's some folks out there that think we see his name at the headline of a paper sometime in the next 24 hours.
And I support that. Like, if he's not your guy, then trade him. But let's not, once he's here, like, let's be here. And there's been all kind of rumors. He's not going to be traded. He's going to be traded. A couple folks have come out and drew a line in the sand on that. I firmly believe they're not going to trade him. I think he's going to be around for a little bit. But if you are going to trade him, then so be it. I support that, because if you're going to move on, let's cut ties. You just paid somebody to take Deontay Johnson from us. If you really feel that way, then off Bryce and let's move on. But if that's not the case, start the man and let him finish the season.
Here's the way I put it earlier, Rashad. At tomorrow night, Bryce Young needs to either be QB1 or on a different roster. Nothing else. Either QB1 or on a different team.
Agreed. I agree. 100% agree.
Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast usually joins us on Thursday, but he's going to be over in Deutschland as the Panthers are on the road against the on a plane against the New York Giants over in Germany coming up on Sunday. Chuba Hubbard in this game. A couple of big moments, including the game-sealing touchdown, which, listen, man, the drive was good. You whipped our ass at the point of attack pretty much all game long, and Chuba did what you, Rashad Beard, have been asking this team to do with Chuba Hubbard all season long. They did it, and it was directly the consequence of a dub.
Yeah, run the ball, run the football, man. I scream that up in the stands every game. Just run the football, man. Chuba Hubbard's a good running back, having a good season. I think he only had 15 carries. I want to see him hit 20 carries. Like, give him 25 plus carries in a game. Let him dominate. Let him be RB1. He's playing well, looking good. And when we needed him at the end of the game, he delivered. And so continue giving him the football and let him show that he's RB1, man. I like it. Keep running the football for sure. Love it.
I totally agree. And I'll tell you the other thing, and we talked a little bit about this last week. I think another 2-3 weeks, it might matter more. But I think the best thing about Chuba Hubbard being able to run the ball like he did on Sunday is you buy yourself another week or two to let John Brooks get as close to 100% as he's healthy. I think Chuba Hubbard, and you add John Brooks to that backfield, not just running the ball out of it, but Rashad Beard, you let Bryce Young have a pass-catching weapon like John Brooks paired up with Chuba Hubbard. I think there's still another level to this offense that you guys can hit.
Yeah, for sure. I think Jonathan Brooks is going to add a completely different dimension. When you talk about what Miles Sanders is doing out of the backfield from a receiving standpoint, I believe that Jonathan Brooks can match that and do it even better. And so give me Jonathan Brooks. I hope he gets activated. I think his window is going to close if we don't activate him soon. So if we don't activate him in his activation window, then he's going to have to sit the rest of the season. Either way, it's going to be good to get him on the field. even if it's not until next year, I believe that was a play that we were prepared for when we drafted him. So this is a guy that we knew we were going to have to wait for. We knew we were going to have to wait to see it. And I'm excited for Jonathan Brooks. Can't wait to see it. Again, that double trouble aspect could be back here in Carolina, and it's going to do nothing but support Bryce Young, and I love it.
All right, Jeff popped into the chat. He said, Bryce Young can't even throw an accurate deep ball pass. I have absolutely no expectations for this team. Just watching and reminiscing about the time we were respected. I'm going to just let you react to that one, Rashad.
I mean, it's fun to say, but it's cap, right? He was dropping dimes out there, and nobody talks about all the drop passes that occurred. And I don't like it, bro. People just don't like Bryce Young, and that's okay. It's okay to not like Bryce Young, but let's not spew misinformation. Bryce can throw the football. Is he a little accurate? He's not perfect, right? Nobody's going to be accurate 100% throwing the football deep. That's going to take reps. That's why you need to let him play. That's why he needs to be out there day in or week in and week out. When you're not out there, you can't develop that chemistry. You know what I mean? So the more opportunity he has, the better he's going to get. He can throw the football. He's just fine. Let him get out there. Let him get those reps, and he can do this. He can play.
Tony chaps in, says, Canales doesn't know how to use Bryce. Look, the only response I got to that, Rashad, and I want yours is, if Dave Canales doesn't know how to use Bryce Young, that's the reason Dave Canales is here. Now, if he wants to come in and go, hey, I worked with Bryce and I've just reached the conclusion that he ain't my guy, he doesn't have it, he ain't an NFL quality player, whatever, that's one thing. But the whole don't know how to use him thing, when that's the reason Canales got hired, that would create some concern for me if it's true, which I don't think it is. But if it was, that's a problem.
Yeah, I do question some of Canales' play calling, right? I'm up in the stands, like punching the seat in front of me in some of the plays that are called. They're just mind-boggling when you don't throw the football to the sticks, or you throw the football behind the line of scrimmage on like 3rd and 2, or it's 4th down and you try to throw the football. We just have these weird short yardage situations where Canales cannot get it figured out. So do we got to get better there? Yes. And I think Canales, again, this is his first time being a head coach and calling a play. So we got to give him a little bit of grace. Is he overthinking things at times? Yes. But I'm going to give him a little bit of grace. Again, coming off the W, I'm not going to nitpick, man. Listen, I got the W. We can complain about other things later. Right now, we're going to live in this moment. It's Victory Monday, and we're gonna victory lap beating the Saints. So everything else right now, listen, we shouldn't be complaining. We can't complain when it's win number 2 over the division rival New Orleans Saints. What's to complain about? Let's talk about dubs instead of complaining.
All right, I respect it. I also think you got to talk about what went wrong so it can get better, right? Like, this is a fight, Lonzo, and I've had many times. When I come in here on Mondays, I am focusing on the negative because you can't fix what went right. You can only fix what went wrong. So let me give the other spot of concern that I had. Wide receivers. Because you brought it up a second ago. Lots of drops on deep balls. I think Leggett may have been a little bit messed up when he got that ball taken away from him. I also think it was one of the best defensive plays I've seen a player make in the NFL this year. You got to give credit to an undrafted rookie DB who made that play. But when you let Deontay go, as you said, when you paid Baltimore to take him off the books for you, I came into this year saying, I love Xavier Leggett. I think Jalen Coker, and he showed it again. Coker can be a dude. I'm all in, but it is a wide receiver group that needs that depth, needs those reps, needs to get better. I think as they become more reliable, inherently Bryce Young's going to start to have better numbers that make him look reliable. And the more that happens, the more I think Canales can open the playbook a little bit more. Rashad, I think it's all connected, man. And I think it all kind of hovers on growing up those wide receivers and that quarterback. And the more they develop, the better I think that offense looks. You add John Brooks to that mix. I told you this last week. I see hope for your team. My team is cheeks, and we're going to be that way for a minute because we done screwed ourselves. You guys, I can see the hope and the optimism for, and I'm being serious when I say that.
Yeah, no, I think that the young wide receivers, again, everybody on this roster is young, right? Bryce Young is young, right? People forget that. It's only year 2 for him. And then you got Leggett, who we just drafted, Jalen Coker, who is trending up where we know this is the Coker crew. I'm a self-proclaimed leader of the Coker crew, okay? And
Thank you for not going with the cokeheads, because that's where where I stopped myself from going.
All right. You might need that a little bit later.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, but listen, these guys are young, right? These guys are young, and I agree with those guys developing that synergy. things are going to get better. And one guy you did not mention was Tavion Sanders, who also is coming along mighty nicely. And so this team, if we can keep this young group together, this is why it's important to play Bryce Young. This is why we can get that chemistry together. And yeah, it's not perfect. You know, XL gets the ball taken from him, but he also had a touchdown reception. So things, we got to see Dollar Bill. We getting to see Dollar Bill like every week, and that's good. That's a good thing. He's a solid, red zone threat, and I love XL. And all these guys are starting to develop and come into their own. It's going to take a little bit of time. So you're right. Things are trending upward. We just got to take the baby wins. It's not perfect. No, it's not. But week by week, we're getting better and better.
There was Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast. Had a few more minutes with Rashad. I'll have that interview posted for you after we conclude the radio broadcast today. I will post the full interview for you where major podcasts are found. So make sure you go find that. And when we come back, Hayden Ask Mario Herron from the BetQL Network joins us. We'll talk about the most recent breaking news out of the NFL. Then at 9:20, Fight Club with the great one, Lonzo. All that more coming up after. He blows your mind with this Sports Flash.
If I do that, you didn't have a whole lot up there in the first place. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott suffered a partial tear of his right hamstring, including a part of the tendon separating from the bone. Prescott has not yet been placed on injured reserve, but sources report that the timeline for return is longer than 4 weeks. In the meantime, Cooper Rush will return to the QB1 role where he was 5-1 in his relief of Prescott. Kansas City Chiefs said the injury sustained by quarterback Patrick Mahomes in Monday night's win over Tampa was a rolled ankle. Mahomes described the ankle as sore, but said he was able to move around comfortably. Head coach Andy Reid said the Chiefs don't plan on putting limitations on Mahomes at this point. Tune in tomorrow night at 7 as Furman Paladins take on the Belmont Bruins in hard court action. It's Furman versus Belmont right here on your home for Paladins basketball. The Fan, Upstate.
Hey, buddy.
Did you just turn all the lights off?
No, the light bulb back there went dark. And, so the studio is dreary.
I was like Darth Vader walks in.
It's not dreary. We're in the same studio. Does it look dreary over here? Other than me. Yeah, it's yeah.
Looks beautiful over near you.
Yeah, it does.
It's the winner's side and, the Saints side.
All right. You ain't got to come in here and start making it personal.
I mean, he's not lying, though.
You ain't got to come in here and start making it personal. No, it's true. We suck. Bad. It's not even fun. I'm not even.
You know who doesn't?
It's not even fun.
The Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know if you knew that.
Neither do the Detroit Lions.
They do not.
I'll be a lifelong Detroit Lions fan over here.
You're talking about Mario. You're not talking about you, right?
No, lifelong Detroit Lions fan over here.
I've been a lifelong Celtics fan, Dodger fan. It's UConn, Georgia.
Good thing the arbiter isn't hearing them listen.
Good thing.
Yeah, because it's it's
Good
a
thing.
bunch of different teams in some in different time zones. I mean, and
We're in the worst time zone.
Where are you guys? Aren't you guys Central?
Eastern.
we're in Eastern.
Oh,
just like
Eastern
you. It's
the worst
Eastern
time zone.
stinks.
Yup.
I think Central's the best.
Central's absolutely the best. Central, it goes Central, Mountain, Pacific, 60 spots, and then Eastern.
I agree.
You get Chris on the show tomorrow.
Tom Brady has improved a little. Just a
He
little.
has improved. He's still not good.
Just a little. No. How long was his contract?
Brady's? I honestly don't know.
Two.
Marius
I
is
thought.
Two?
yeah.
It's not like they're not going to re-sign him. They're so heavily invested.
He probably has a clause where he could play for an NFL team and he'll just get out of the booth, go play one game.
Well, he's
and
got
then,
all those new rules on him since he got the,
that's
the
right.
Raiders ownership.
That's
he's
right.
not allowed to go to production meetings. He's not allowed to go into other teams' facilities. Like, basically, he has to show up and call games cold. And I'm like, you weren't good when you weren't doing it.
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say it's not really affecting his performance that much. He's just, Is he allowed to talk about the Raiders and everything Raiders when he broadcasts?
I don't
they
think
have
he's
to be a
allowed to do
winning
Raiders
team, though.
games.
Oh, okay.
And off we go into the final hour of the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're on the radio right here on the Fan Upstate. The Rob Brown Show, the great one Lonzo. I am Rob Brown. The pleasure is ours. Great to have you here, Armada members from around the globe, joining us now on the show, as he does every Thursday at 9 o'clock on the dot. He is an NFL analyst for the BetQL Network. He is an NBA analyst for the BetQL Network, and he is the executive producer of BetMGM Tonight, which you can hear every single weeknight from 7 till 11 p.m. on the Fan Upstate and on fine Odyssey stations around the world, and for free on the Odyssey app. Don't forget, he is Mario Heron, a.k.a. Hating Ass Mario, joining us here on the show. What's up, big fella?
So I mean, we gotta mention this off the rip, guys. No sleeveless jersey this week. Then we have a dark background, and then we have glasses on and a hockey jersey. I mean, Lonzo, what's going on in there?
The sunglasses started like a couple weeks ago, and now he's decided he's a sunglasses guy. And there's several different kinds of sunglasses. He was just a regular glasses guy, and the thing is, they're not prescription, so he can't see you right now. He has no idea. He can hear you, but he can't see you.
Oh, I can.
I like him.
His hair's wet again. I can see that.
What's
Okay.
wrong with that?
Yeah.
It's because you can't pull it off.
I'm saying
I mean,
I can see the hate now. Only because I got max screen on the big monitor. I mean, if it was, shut up. I'm old. Leave me alone. Mario Heron joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. I want to get to the NFL here in just a second. Hating ass Mario, but before we do, are you having as much fun watching the LA Lakers as I am right now?
I'm having fun watching Anthony Davis. I mean, he's leading the league in scoring right now, and kind of seeing him develop in this JJ Redick offense has been fun. But to be honest with you, Rob, I'm more having fun, and this is going to sound insane, and watching the Cleveland Cavaliers.
9-0.
9-0. I took their over this year in their wins. Atkinson kind of got the short end of the stick in Brooklyn, where all the stars, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, Simmons, Harden, whatever, no, I'm sorry, it was Harden before it was Simmons, but They're like, yes, we want to come over here. There's a great culture. There's something that's really special going on. And then the first thing they did was fire the guy that started the culture, that started everything that they wanted it to be, and brought in a numbnut Steve Nash who didn't do anything. But it's great. I was proud and happy to see him kind of get like a second chance as this head coach opportunity. I thought it was perfect in Cleveland. And look, man, this team's firing. They're fun to watch. They're first in offensive rating this early in the season. They're top 10 still in defensive rating, a little low at 9, but like they are fun to watch. It's a great story. And I love the little league, the little city that puts up the big fights against the big dogs.
Yeah, we talked about Cleveland earlier today. Rookie head coach, by the way, only rookie head coach in NBA history to get to 9-0 is Atkinson. Like it's a hell of a story so far. Let's talk about it again in 40 games and see if we're on that same trajectory. But for now, it's a fun story to talk about.
No, it's very fun. And look, you're talking to the guy that in 2001, when the Bulls were number 1 in the Eastern Conference and then everyone got hurt, I was talking, not gonna lie to you guys, hand up, I was talking Eastern Conference Finals. I was talking NBA Finals. Like, I am the king of the team that kind of wasn't supposed to be anything, and now they're like closer to the top. Let's absolutely overreact, because there's nothing more fun than to do that.
Mario had 2 nicknames when he was the executive producer of Bet for the Cycle. One was Hating Ass Mario. The other was Mushin' Ass Mario. I'm not saying it's your fault, bud. But maybe calm down with the Cavs. Give them a chance is all I'm saying. Give them a chance.
This also is because I'm in a group chat with about 3 Cleveland Cavaliers fans.
That's fair.
I get a text every night.
That's fair. All right, let's flip over to the NFL. Trade deadline passed on Tuesday afternoon. We had not really as active as a trade deadline as I thought we were going to have. I really thought there were going to be some names on the moves. Darius Smith was about the biggest name we saw move. We saw the Carolina Panthers send Jonathan Mingo to Dallas and a 7th rounder for a 4th rounder in return. A move that actually kind of like Mingo was not going to develop. He can go somewhere he can develop. He wasn't going to be able to develop in Carolina, and he needs it. Anything from trade deadline that was particularly interesting to you, or did you see it like I did? Hey, we knew Detroit was in the market for a pass rusher. They got one. I thought everybody who was pushing the Max Crosby theory was very clearly overreacting. The Raiders were not sending away the only damn good thing about that franchise right now. Was there anything else that jumped off the page at you as that's a make or break move?
I mean, it was very interesting what the Commanders did, and I think their whole approach to this Jaden Daniels thing's been honestly worked out great for them and been pretty fascinating in a way. Like, you saw their moves this past offseason, and they were like pretty vocal about it. The whole direction of that team was to surround Jaden Daniels with veterans that have been around the league to show Jaden Daniels like the ways of the NFL. And they did that with Bobby Wagner. They did that by getting Austin Eckler. Now they did that by getting Marshawn Lattimore. And this is a secondary that's been pretty weak. It's kind of not been the best part of that team. And then now that you add a guy with that amount of experience and that level of a player with a defensive genius of a coach and Dan Quinn, I thought that was a really good move by the Washington Commanders. And I think they're kind of realizing too that this is a season where, look, the Cowboys are down and out. The Giants are down and out. The Eagles are a good team, but you can outcoach Nick Sirianni on any day of the week, and you just have to wait for them to make a mistake because they always will. So I think they realized their moment, and they're really sticking to, let's just keep surrounding our young quarterback with a bunch of, veteran guys and strong leaders, and it's working, man. I think a lot of times you see in the NFL where, you get a young QB and you want young talent with them so they can kind of grow together. And while I do, think that's a good option and a great way to look at things, I think the way they're doing this is just as smart, and it's really worked out for them. So I love the move the Commanders made.
So do I. I as a Saints fan, I like the move because there's no world New Orleans is competitive in the next 2 years.
Yes.
You're looking 3 down the road, and how do you make a team competitive 3 years from now? You have 2 really, really strong draft classes that bring the cap down and then get a couple of vets. I love Marshawn Lattimore. I think he's the best defensive back that's ever played for the New Orleans Saints. I genuinely mean that. So I hate losing him as a player. But the reality is we weren't going to win a damn thing with him this year or next year, so why not get some capital? On the flip side, as maybe the best DB that's ever come through the New Orleans Saints franchise, he makes Washington better immediately and does so in a division where you take away the limited success of the other three quarterbacks in that division by putting a Marshawn Lattimore back there, who has locked down the likes of Matt Ryan, Tom Brady in years gone by. And there's a statistical empirical decrease in numbers when those quarterbacks went up directly against Marshawn Lattimore. To me, I already had a 22-1 ticket for the Commanders to win the NFC East. I'm making money at the end of this year because of this move.
Oh, you 100% are. And look, I think this team and organization is pretty set for years to come. Like I don't see a way where the NFC East doesn't go through Washington for the next 2 to 3 years, right? Let's be honest. The Cowboys, that's just keeps looking like that's a mess. Giants are 2 years away from being 2 years away. And, the Eagles, the Eagles are in a weird spot where if Nick Sirianni, kind of doesn't do, makes the playoffs, wins a playoff game, you have to keep him around. You can't fire him for that. So it's a weird one where your coach is good, but not great. It's a weird dialect. You got to wait for the, weird, awful season where you're below 500 to get him going, to get him out. So they got that division, man, for I think a while, and I'm excited for him. Also for the Saints too. And I know they just extended him, but I really don't understand if you're really trying to get money off the books, if you're trying to go for this rebuild, you finally fired Dennis Allen. I don't get not shopping around Alvin Kamara. Why not shop him around?
Frankly, because you remember you just re-signed him.
Yeah, which I didn't get.
Kamara effectively took a relatively team-friendly contract that included, and I literally learned this 5 minutes before we started this talk, Mario. One of the things in his contract is that they can reduce his salary, and I don't know the exact number, but I know it's a pretty significant number. They can reduce his salary and therefore cap number if he does not attend 100% of OTAs, which he's not going to. He didn't come to OTAs, or if he does, he's a light workout guy. So Mickey Loomis is doing what Mickey Loomis is always doing, not to the level he's done it in manipulating the cap and pushing the penalties down the road. It's just that instead of doing like he has done, where he's pushing gigantic blocks of money that are all going to come due at the same time, like is going to happen this offseason for the Saints, he's kind of spreading it further and thinner down the line, which I think is the only way to handle this, unless, like you said, you go full reset button and you just play with a bunch of garbage vets and nothing but rookies next year. I don't know, man. I don't disagree with you. But I also know the Saints right now have a major PR image in New Orleans, Louisiana. The fans there are ticked off, and Kamara's one of the few bright spots. I honestly don't know. They don't keep him just as a PR move to keep the fans showing up to games for the rest of the year, because right now nobody wants to.
Exactly. And he's a fan favorite. So that's also tough too. It's you're really going to let go of a guy that everyone really loves. And I wouldn't even say that the Saints, it's not you don't have Chris Olave is a very good young weapon that could very much,
if he can come back. He died this weekend.
That's true. If he can come back, and if you get him a QB finally, Derek Carr is also not the option. But
did you see that somebody dropped the stat this weekend? Did you see somebody compiled the list of most losses for a quarterback? X number of seasons. All right. So for those of you that haven't seen this, starting with 4-year quarterbacks, if you look at most combined losses for a quarterback between years, the most combined losses in 4 years, David Carr. 5 years, David Carr. 6 years, David Carr. 7 years, Derek Carr. 8 years, Derek Carr. 9 years, Derek Carr. 10 years, Derek Carr. 11 years, Derek Carr. And Archie Manning are tied, which means that when the Saints inevitably lose this weekend behind Derek Carr, he will now own the record for the most combined losses. The Carr family owns the most combined losses for a quarterback for between 4 seasons through 11 seasons. That's just
congratulations.
Talk about a legacy.
Congratulations on witnessing history.
I know. He tied Archie.
I believe he can make more history. He's lost to every team in the NFL but the Raiders.
Except the Raiders. And guess who we play on November 19th?
The Raiders.
We're good. We're going to find a way to lose to the Las Vegas Raiders. And not only am I going to have to listen to Cody Decker's obnoxious ass the next week, bragging about it as if he's been on the Raider bandwagon through this 2-7 season they're putting up so far. But on top of that, I'm gonna have to deal with having the first quarterback ever that's lost to all 32 NFL franchises. Just a stellar year to be me, bud.
It's a great year to be you. Braves did good.
Why do I keep inviting you back? Why do I keep having you on the show?
Florida State.
Why are you here? Why are you here? Hayden S. Mario from the BetQL Network joining us for the last time here on Thursday mornings at 9 o'clock.
Surprised you didn't throw in the presidency in there. I mean, you might as well just finish the whole thing off.
Just sweep the leg. Sweep the leg, Johnny. Sweep the leg.
Sweep it.
All right. Talk to me. As I think everybody else have just enjoyed the hell out of dunking repeatedly and consistently on the Dallas Cowboys. Would you like a minute or two to do that?
I mean, it's just like sad at this point. Like, it's just sad and depressing, like just what's going on over there. And also just another great example of Mike McCarthy is not a good coach in the NFL. He's not a good coach. And we're seeing this for the fourth year in a row, or third year in a row, whatever year in a row it is, where he just lets this organization down, this team down as a whole. It's glorious. It's beautiful. That being said, it's like them and the Jets where I like them that they stink. Like, that's fun. But I'm almost like tired that they stink. It's like, let's stop convincing ourselves that it can be something better. You know what I mean? It's like when someone breaks up with their girlfriend or boyfriend and then they like keep talking about it. And then you're like, buddy, I've listened to this for the past 2 hours. That person stinks, but like, let's move on. We're at a bar. You know what I mean? We're at a club. It's like one of those for me.
You can blame McCarthy. You can blame Dak. The big talking heads, the hot take artists on the big networks, they always want to run to blame Dak Prescott, despite the fact that Dak has put up numbers the last couple of years, right? Like, he's turned numbers. I'll tell you when it became obvious to me was 2 weeks ago when Jerry Jones got on that radio show down in Dallas and he was like, that's the media's fault. I'm like, all right, it's Jerry's fault now. It's Jerry's. Even if it's not Jerry's fault, when he gets on that radio show and starts blaming the media and threatening the jobs of sports talk radio hosts who are just simply asking for accountability out of the general manager, who is also Jerry Jones, and he starts saying it's their fault and the media's fault, but dog, immediately I'm like, nope, all on Jerry. I think Hayden asked Mario, the Dallas Cowboys have reached what I call the Al Davis era. The Al Davis era is when your team can't be good until your owner dies, because he's not selling, he's not stepping away. They cannot be good until the owner dies. The problem is, just like with Al Davis handed it on down to Baby Davis with his weird ass haircut, when Jera passes on, it goes to Steven, who maybe the Dallas Cowboys get lucky, and Steven goes, I'm not my dad, and I'm not going to do it my dad's way, but I wouldn't bet on it.
I mean, he's also the guy that talked Jerry out of drafting Johnny Manziel. If people don't know that story, like he was all in on getting Johnny Manziel, and his son was like, "Listen, we cannot get this guy." I think the tough thing with Jerry too is, and you kind of hinted at it, like he is a guy he's never gonna sell at the deadline, like or in the off season, right? Like sometimes in organizations, there's a time when you just gotta let it go, and he refuses to that, and he'll never do that. And I think the Cowboys also have lost kind of their sting, if we're being honest, like. Cowboys 90s were the team, were America's team, whatever, destination spot. It was, you wanted to have that star on the helmet. Guys, I am 25 years old, and not one time since I've been alive or since I've had memory has it been, oh, man, everyone I know, if you wanted to play in the NFL, you want to play for the Dallas Cowboys. It's just not like that. You know what I mean? Like the aura. If you like that word, that's for the youngins. The Dallas Cowboys, I think, has really kind of gone down with the younger kids, younger players.
Mario's got Riz.
I hate that word so much.
You just said aura.
Aura is better than Riz. I had someone say Riz to me last weekend. They're like, oh, like someone asked, like, oh, how's this Riz? And I was like, I don't want you to talk to me ever again. I was like, that is the worst thing I've ever been asked. in my life. I never want to hear that again.
What a place to draw a line. All right, Hayden asked Mario Heron. He is an NBA and NFL analyst for the BetQL Network, also the executive producer of BetMGM Tonight, which airs every single weeknight from 7 to 11 p.m., and you can hear it right here on the Fan Upstate. Good to have, okay to have you this week, bud.
Amazing to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, if you want free money, I'm telling you this right now. North Carolina, Kansas Jayhawks, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Throw on the over. Carolina is going to play fast. They're going to play quick, and they're going to shoot the hell out of the ball. Kansas is going to pound it down low. That game's going over. I think it was at 153.5 is the best price you can find. Take the over in that game.
All right. Accountability segment next week. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Hey, if it loses, I'll wear a tank on the show.
Tank Top Thursday makes its return next week. You want to know why I did, Mario? You want to know what I did? Look, I've got some I got some custom kicks to match the jersey. The custom Vans.
Very nice. Very nice.
I know they are.
Custom Vans.
The custom Vans. The high tops and everything, dude. They're sick. They're nasty. They're gnarly, bro. Talk to you next week, big dog.
Wait. Real quick. Do young people wear Vans? I don't know.
Hell yeah,
I'm
Vans are
pretty
back,
old.
baby.
I'm asking a young
I don't
person.
wear Vans. I wear like just Nikes. So I don't wear
There we
Vans.
go. Me too.
Vans are so back, baby. So
They're
back.
not back. They're back. Yeah, they're not.
They're
back.
the backest. They're like sexy back at this point. Mario Heron, BetQL Network. He'll be on tonight. BetMGM tonight, 7 to 11 with Ryan Horvat and Brad Evans. See you, buddy.
Adios.
Later on. Hating ass Mario joins us every Thursday at 9 o'clock. We got to take a break. We come back. Fight Club with the Great Milonzo next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
QC.
Got it. All right, guys. Be right back. Stay right there.
No vans, no minivans. Is that supposed to be no caps? Why does it say no capes? I don't get the last one, Mac, but yeah. But as we've stated before,
No capes. It's from The Incredibles.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, Frozone.
No capes.
I don't know why you had to be not Frozone.
Mr. Incredible.
Yeah.
No capes.
I don't know why you had to be so loud with it. That hurt, man. That was
what
like.
Edna does.
No
capes.
Okay. Oh yeah, I gotta do something here, don't I? Just try and stay alive for like 35 more minutes. I don't want to die in 35 minutes, by the way. I don't know. Or ever. Okay, I didn't want to see them dancing though. Well, Mr. Reitzel, the reason why your leg hurts so bad is because you're fat. Yeah, I know. I'm fat because my leg ain't working. Make it work.
Make it work. I'm a bad man.
All right. It is time for the Fight Club where we fight, so to speak. And been a pretty big weekend last weekend. Crown Jewel was it wasn't bad. I was a little shocked though. First of all, the main thing that shocked me was not that Gunther, friend of the show, Gunther lost. The big shock is the turn on Monday night where he talked about Cody being the better man. Now, I'm not saying that he's turning babyface, but it was kind of I don't know.
See, I don't see it as a turn. I see it as very Gunther. I think that the character of Gunther isn't a heel. He's just very old school, and he treats wrestling as wrestling, not theater, right? Like, I think a guy like Cody treats wrestling as theater. That's why he comes out with the mask and the pyro and all that. Gunther comes out in a jacket. He beats your ass, and then he leaves. And when you beat Gunther, this isn't the first time he's done it. When you beat Gunther in a wrestling match, you earn the respect of Gunther. I don't see Gunther as a bad guy. I see him as a wrestler, not an entertainer. If you look at him more like a guy who is there to wrestle and win belts, not to entertain us, the character makes a lot more sense. That's how I see it.
All right. So last night, NXT went head to head with AEW, and I got to admit, I watched NXT. And here's the reason why. I was sold on something. And first of all, the week before, NXT, that was an amazing show. One of the best NXTs I had seen, I don't know, like a decade or something. It's been a long time. But so last night they were at ECW Arena, and it wasn't really that good. And there were a couple of things that were good, but for the most part, it wasn't good. And my question for you, do arenas still have the mystique that they used to back in the day?
I think that they do, but I also think that, unfortunately, the nostalgia of ECW probably doesn't remain with an NXT crowd, because the NXT crowd, as it is a developmental league, I think is predominantly younger wrestling fans who were around with the creation of NXT. They don't have the love affair with ECW that older fans like us do, that watched ECW in its prime. I think if you would have, say, had a main roster show, I think that arena would have been absolutely electric, because people who follow the main roster product are more likely to have been invested in ECW. This is kind of like when your favorite band, like the Eagles. The Eagles were one of the biggest bands on the face of planet Earth. Are they selling out Madison Square Garden? Probably not, because the nostalgia is with people who were invested back then, but probably aren't as much now. The second thing is, and I had this thought last night, if you can do a great show and then add cameos, that's a thing, right? You got Rhino, you got the Dudley Boys showing up together for the first time in a while. If you do a great show and you sprinkle cameos in, that's fantastic. But if your show is only great because of the cameos, you didn't do a good show. And that's gonna shine through. Now, I haven't watched NXT yet, but a bunch of my wrestling buddies were like, it was a fine show, but like it was cool for the cameos, but it wasn't like Rhino showed up and then was the main character. He showed it, he hit a gore and he left.
Yeah, RVD forgot his line in a promo.
You could tell he was lost.
Yeah,
Like,
but we all know why he was lost, but still he was definitely lost.
yeah, if you're gonna do promos, they need to add to a good show, not be expected to make a show good. The other thing I would say is there is not another more mainstream wrestling show that is more different than ECW was than NXT. It is a I'm going to say this as somebody who watches NXT weekly. It is the most sanitized for kids wrestling show that is available.
Which gets me to my next point, was a problem last night for CW. Because not only were there big gaps and no audio, I wonder why, but there was blurred video.
Yeah.
Because saw more birds last night than I've ever seen in NXT.
Those wrestling
and they had to take that, and you would think they would have took that into account when they went to that arena.
Well, again, you can't you have to pick one. You can either do a show where you go, you know what, it might be uncomfortable, but we're going to have to let some birds through and we're going to have to let some some bleep that guy chants go through, or don't do that show. Because if you go in there and you say, we don't want all the things that made ECW a cult favorite, then there is no point in doing the show.
By the way, it wasn't a horrible show. There were a couple of bright spots. I liked the beginning match, Jada Parker and Lola Vice, especially the brick.
Yeah.
I mean, when you hit someone in the face with a brick.
But that was an ECW match.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
And finally, the superstar match with all the women was good because you've got some big time stars there, and they put the right people in the main event. Bubba Ray and Devon, that wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't great. It just, I think if this hadn't come on the heels of what they did the week before and how good that was, maybe it would have been okay. And when Nunzio is one of the guys you bring out, it's, I mean,
listen, it again, having the legends from the ECW days make an appearance as a cameo, that's fine. But what you did in that spot was you made me, as somebody who watched ECW back in the day, you got me all hyped up for an ECW show, and then you didn't get. This would be like, and I'm going to use another nerd comparison. This would be like if Ryan Reynolds went through everything he went through to make Deadpool, and then you show up to a Deadpool movie, and Deadpool's like, gosh darn it, you guys. This is just super, you know what I mean? You'd be like, this isn't why I'm here.
Well, he did kind of, Nicepool did that. But,
Nicepool did it,
yeah.
but like, well, I'm saying when the OG Deadpool dropped,
I got you.
And everybody was like shocked, except for whom? Deadpool fans. Deadpool fans were like, oh my God, he did it. Like, we made a Deadpool movie. It's gross and it's violent and it's gory and it's dirty and it's vulgar. Deadpool, right? If I'd have gone in there and I had a Deadpool that didn't use bad language and like didn't use his swords like swords. If he Leonardo'd them, I'm going to hit you with the flat. No, I'm here to watch people get cut in half by Deadpool, right? If you know what it felt like to me? It felt like a bait and switch. You spent a week building up an ECW show. I tuned in to see an ECW show, and I got an NXT show in ECW clothing, which I think did more damage than if you would have said, we're going to do an ECW tribute show, but we're going to do it in Orlando in our building. We'll have Rhino come to us. We'll have Nunzio come to us. We'll have these guys. Then I'm not tuning in for an ECW show. But when you do it in the house that ECW built, and I tune in expecting an ECW night, and I don't get it, I kind of feel got.
Well, if you want ECW, just go watch some AEW and you'll get ECW.
An ECW tribute show would go hard AF. I would watch it before I watched anything else on TV
All
that
right,
night.
and admittedly, I didn't really like ECW. Some big stars came out of ECW. It was the alternative. I didn't need an alternative. I was okay with what the mainstream thing was at the time, which was WWF, I believe. One of the big things that happened at last week was setting up what we know is going to be Survivor Series. We got the OG Bloodline in the ring when Sami Zayn shows up and he kicks Roman Reigns in the face.
Okay, do you understand the biggest trope in wrestling that drives me up a damn wall? I said this to you on Monday. I'm going to say it every time it happens. The biggest trope in wrestling, it drives me up a freaking wall, is when you have the accidental push, the accidental punch, the accidental kick, and then it starts this, so you punch me in the face. There was a point in time where WWE, you know what they did? They actually had the wrestlers act as if they watched the damn show. And there was one time, and I don't remember, I think it may have been involved with Sami Zayn, but there was one time where they ran that angle, and the next week, I think it was Kevin Owens, and he watches the tape, and he turns around and he goes, oh, it was an accident. Okay, no worries. And I was like, yes, pretend like you're at least regular cognizant human beings. Sami Zayn clearly did not intend to kick Roman Reigns in the face. The dude moved, and he got Roman Reigns accidentally. We don't need to start a whole Sami v. Roman angle over an accident if Roman just watches TV and goes, oh, yeah, no, it's an accident.
All right. The reason why I'm bringing this up, and this might be fantasy booking, we know it's going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline at Survivor Series, whether they've announced it yet or not. I want to see Sami swerve. I want to see Sami cost the Bloodline, turn around and smile to the camera and then walk out.
OTC Bloodline?
Yes.
Okay.
I know. I want to see him screw over Roman, Jay and Jimmy, and then walk out. That's what I want to see.
Why?
Because revenge.
But you
final revenge for everything that they did to him, everything that they cost him, including a chance at the title, all that. I know the angle is all the families reunited and everything. Let Sami cost him a loss again. So that'll be 2 losses to the new Bloodline. That's what I want.
I mean, do you think Sami cost them that match this weekend? I don't think Sami cost them that match.
No, other things did. But anyway, I want him to cost him that match. I want him to get his revenge, do what Drew McIntyre has been trying to do forever, and actually get in there, them think he's on their side, and then him mess them over and then walk out. That's what I want to happen.
Yeah, listen.
You may want your happy, joy as far as that goes. To me, him getting his revenge on Roman for all the crap he put him through, I think it'll be worth it to see that happen.
See, I'll tell you what, I think I know where my fear comes from. My fear comes from Sami Zayn works as a bad guy on a very limited scope.
He's not a bad guy in this situation, though. He's a guy who gets his who gets his vengeance, gets his revenge, and then he walks out. Still a good guy. He just took out the guy who put him through all the stuff he put him through.
He takes over, whether you like it or not, the most white hot over babyface right now in the organization, which is the OTC Roman Reigns. And he takes him out and costs him a match. And more importantly, by doing so, whether he does it to screw Roman or not, by doing so, what else does he do? He allows Solo's bloodline to be the ones. So you have now taken down the babyface and you have elevated the people we hate more than anybody else except Dominic Mysterio. Boo. That's pure heel. There's no other way around that. Sami Zayn becomes pure heel.
Yeah, but you do that.
Like babyface fun Sami.
Yeah, but you do that and you play it as a babyface. I just think you could do it.
I don't. How in what world does he come across as a babyface if he costs the most over face in the company and elevates the most, I guess, over?
And then Drew McIntyre walks out, puts his arm around him, and says, "Thank you," and they just walk out together.
Oh, you just want him gone. I get it.
No. I want the thing that they started where Drew is like, hey, listen,
but then
what you were okay with, why can't Sami do that?
I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying I think you kill off. I think you kill off Sami Zayn at that point. You reboot him again.
What's he really doing right now anyway?
Being the wonderful question mark wild card in this feud, which I'm on board with. All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back and finish up the show. The Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate.
Thank you, Mac. when Sammy lost the last belt he had, he's kind of irrelevant right now. They don't know what to do with him. So they're putting him in this, unless this is the reason why they weren't doing anything with him.
They're not putting. He has been a part of this story from the beginning. This isn't we need a shoehorn Sammy's.
Without this story, he'd be doing nothing, which is what he's been doing since he lost the belt.
I mean, again, maybe so, but that doesn't make him irrelevant to the story. Lane Kiffin.
Well, we've got another segment, whatever it is. Exactly, Mac, because they just haven't done anything with them.
At 773 Network. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773 Network. To all you tool people out there, has Harbor Freight got a deal for you? Big savings every single day this November. Because we know that right now, when the price of everything only seems to go up, you need a place where prices stay low. So shop in store or online for quality tools you can trust at prices you'll love every day. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
From the Ingles Market Studio.
The Rob Brown Show continues. Fan Upstate. Final segment of the day. One more day to go before we head into another spectacular football weekend. One of the conversations that's been going around the college football landscape, specifically, whether you like it or not, in the Southeastern Conference, is teams faking injuries in order to stop the game.
Come on now. That doesn't happen.
Not only does it probably happen, it happens so damn much that I know that it happens. Hey, I'm a big Joey Freshwater guy. because Lane Kiffin entertains the hell out of me, but he is absolutely and without a question mark the number one culprit in this. Lane Kiffin has players faking injuries all the time. It's clear as day. Well, if you missed it before last weekend, the Southeastern Conference sent out a memo to the teams in the league. In a letter to league coaches and athletic directors that the Associated Press reported on Monday, actually, I think it got reported on. Got dropped over the weekend. Commissioner Greg Sankey told teams to, and I directly quote from the report, quote, stop any and all activity related to faking injuries to create timeouts, end quote. The league also tweaked an existing rule to give it more leeway in punishing coaches and programs for violations. Now, if the national coordinator for football officiating says it's more likely than not that a feigned injury occurred, then it will be considered a feigned injury and subject to a penalty. Greg Sankey said, quote, your team should be prepared to compete fairly under the rules of the game. Before Friday's rules adjustment, teams had to send video to the national coordinator for review. Now the SEC office can request their own review. Sankey wrote in the letter, quote, when defending against a hurry-up offense, you are to use the allocated team timeouts if you need to stop play, or you may allow the play to continue with the personnel and defensive play call in place. When on offense, if the play clock is running out, you are to use a team timeout or accept the delay of game penalty. Creating injury timeouts in these circumstances is not acceptable and is disrespectful to the game of college football. Now, do we have any problem with that? I don't have any problem with that. I got no issue with that at all. So, that doesn't mean that Lane Kiffin's a fan. Why do I know that? Because remember, this year, for the first time, the SEC is putting out injury reports. For the first time, the SEC teams must, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, put out a report of players that are probable, questionable, doubtful, or out, or game time decision. So, Lane Kiffin put out an injury report before he took on the South Carolina Gamecocks back on October 5th. On that injury report, there were 4 players who were listed as questionable or better. 4 players who were listed as questionable or better. The injury report for Ole Miss this weekend just came out. Lonzo, there are 24 players listed by the Ole Miss Rebels as questionable or better. 24. Now, I got to guess.
It's been a rough season, Rob.
Been a rough season, rough season for the Rebels.
SEC is tough, and people are hurt.
Of course, Ole Miss is taking on Georgia this weekend. Georgia's pretty good. Taking on Georgia this weekend. There are 24 players on the injury report for the Ole Miss Running Rebels. Why? I got to guess. Here's my guess. It's because they expect that Georgia is going to be moving on down the football field. So how in the world do we slow up Georgia if we can't fake injuries? Well, if you got a guy who's listed as questionable on the report, and all of the sudden he goes down on the field, you can go, whoa. He's not feigning an injury. He's actually hurt. Look, he's on the injury report. We listed him on the injury report on Thursday. We listed him on the injury report on Friday. You cannot question his injury. After all, he was on the injury report. One of the things that it is important to learn as you grow up and become an adult in this country is that even though the majority of civilized society might look at a social situation of some type and say, hey, the rules are the rules, and even if they're not implicitly and directly written down, I am going to follow what is commonly accepted as the social rules of society so that I can be a functioning member of it. However, there are always going to be people out there that are willing to bend the rules, break the rules, that are willing to circumvent the rules, that are willing to flex the rules in order to create the most advantageous situation that they can find themselves in. And they don't care if it is to the detriment of you or someone else or the game or the business or the whatever it is. There will always be people who are willing to say, I don't particularly care about the rules or the impact I have on other people. I only care about my success in this situation. Lane Kiffin has just proven that he's one of those people. Lane Kiffin doesn't care about the integrity of the game. He doesn't care about the SEC commissioner or the commissioner's office. He doesn't care about Georgia. He doesn't care about anything other than how do I bend the rules to give myself a chance to win. And if the director says, oh, we are going to review injured players from now on and we're going to start handing out penalties for them, he'll just go, oh, actually, everybody's hurt. Just everybody on my team is hurt. So if anybody goes down to the game, don't you dare question it, because they're on the injury report.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
He's in their heads. I mean, you know, you wanna come at me, I'll come at you, bro.
Lane's in your head. In your head. Kiffin.
That was amazing. I was glad to witness that. All
Nailed
right. Once again, day 2 of having to wade through things to try to find things. And it probably will be that way.
Gonna be that way for a minute.
For at least the rest of the week.
For a
And then
minute.
the weekend will happen and then everything will be good. Speaking of the weekend, Red One is trending.
Red One, a new movie coming out starring Dwayne as well as Captain America. And J. Jonah Jameson is starring in this movie as well. Super ripped Santa.
Yes.
And they're going to be attacked by gigantic CGI abominable snowmen. I don't even care, Lonzo. I don't even care.
Krampus in the slap fight. I mean, you know, who didn't want to see that?
I don't even care. I'm super excited about this movie.
All right. So
Judge me.
The movie itself doesn't drop till next Thursday, except across the country, Sunday at 4 p.m., you can go see the movie, including IMAX. I just looked it up, the IMAX in Simpsonville.
Wait, so this is a theater movie?
Yes.
Oh, I thought this was a...
No. It's
like
a theater
Netflix
movie. It comes out technically on the 15th, which means it comes out on the 14th because Thursdays. But they decided to release one showing only this Sunday at 4 o'clock before the initial release.
I'm in.
So if you wanted to see it early, you could do it. You know, football's going on, but still, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm not in. I'm going to watch football. I will say this.
I am going to go see it probably next Friday, though. So
I ranted on what was it, Tuesday, about it being too damn early for Christmas stuff to put up. The wife, we don't have our big tree up because we're getting a real tree, but we have a little 4-foot tree that she does a theme every year. Like it's a decade. Like last year it was our beach Christmas tree, and the year before that it was, you know, whatever it was. This year it's a football themed Christmas tree. So she actually got a black tree, and on one side she hung garnet for South Carolina. On the other side she hung gold for the Saints. So it's a football tree. She put it up. It goes in our bedroom, so it lights up the bedroom, whatever. She put it up, and I looked at it last night, and I was like, oh, crap. I feel Christmassy.
Yeah, I hate
Damn
this.
it.
I hate this.
Damn it. I feel Christmassy now.
I'm starting to feel it a little
I
bit,
know.
too. And I don't know if that's age or what, or just, you know, physically I'm having problems. And so Christmas just, I don't know why.
My icy cold heart was warmed to its cockles last night because the Christmas tree went up, and I went from it's too early to like, I can get down the rest of the decorations from the attic if you want me to.
By the way, if you're at work, do not look up cockles. All right. The next thing that's Xing is ray gun.
Ray gun is trending again. Of course, the world famous #1 in the world ranked break dancer Ray Gun.
Not anymore. She is officially retired from breakdancing because of the backlash of the Olympics. It took her a while, but she has decided, you know, TMZ just reported, so you know it's true. She's done with breakdancing.
For the record, if you'd have told me she had retired before the Olympics, I'd have believed you.
Yeah.
My favorite thing on Halloween was all the Ray Guns out there that were going out there and doing really bad dance moves, except for they were doing the exact same dance moves.
I'm going to loosely quote her in her saying that she was unable to express herself the way she wanted to.
Yeah, no, we all saw that. Yeah, we saw it. We saw it.
All right. And finally, Malachi Black is.
Yeah, very shocking last night at AEW. He had a match against Adam Cole, baby, in which he A, lost, and then B, after the loss, he didn't do like the traditional Malachi Black stuff. He like got up and he hugged Adam Cole and kind of waved. So the thought is that may have been Malachi Black's send out match from AEW, which of course would make sense that he would be on his way back to WWE where his wife Zelina Vega works. I would just like to say, you better give me horror movie Malachi Black back. Don't give me this Alistair, I wear a suit and tie. I want my man showing up and being terrifying. I need more terrifying. Hey, that's it for us. Thanks for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. Come back tomorrow. Do it with us again. We are going to have a good time, as always, on the Friday edition as we preview the football weekend. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later!
No, not today.
What's in your head? In your head. Zombie. We're getting AEW Civil War. Pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, what's the end game on it? By the way, I like it. I'm not acting like I don't like it, but what's the end game? I mean, we are seeing a team up right now of Darby and friend of the show, Orange Cassidy, which is, although Darby's a friend of the show too. I don't know why. I mean, friends of the show. Sometimes you forget. Oh yeah, we interviewed that guy too. And I didn't mention about the end of the New Day. They're getting their own Raw dedicated to them. It is so over. I just I hope they swerve us and that Kofi's the heel. I just think that would be great. Enjoy the money. Don't expect to win.
4-year, $33.2 million. He's having a career year.
He is, especially when they get to a point where they're kind of afraid to throw the ball. They're going to give it to him. So, I mean,
Well, and I honestly think getting John Brooks back there could open up the field for him, too. Genuinely. All right, dudes and dudettes, we got to split like a banana.
Like a Savannah banana?
Ooh, that's right. 6:30 coverage start, 7 p.m. first pitch. Can't wait. Thanks for being here. You're all spectacular people. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. We want to be rich and famous. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.